Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. From South Bend, Indiana, comes one of the nation's grid classics. The National Broadcasting Company has moved its microphones westwards in order that you may be in on the brilliant football spectacle between the universities of Notre Dame and Illinois. This is Bill Stern speaking from Notre Dame Stadium on the campus of South Bend, Indiana. One need only say Notre Dame in Illinois to know that this afternoon assures them of a plentiful supply of thrills, spills, and chills. The name of Notre Dame has become synonymous with fine football. Down through the years, they've held to the traditions of the best in sportsmanship. The Illinois band has moved down the field 180 strong. Just below our NBC booth comes this magnificent musical organization from Champaign, Illinois. Let's listen to them. $35,000 fans assembled in South Bend, Indiana, pay a tribute, a well-earned, to this magnificent musical organization. They're moving down the field very gracefully and easily, 180 strong. And as soon as the band picks up its marching tempo, the instruments are raised to the lips. Here's more music. While this band moves down the field, let us paint for you, with our eyes and mouth, a picture as they do pass us. It is truly a great sight. The Illinois band, resplendent in the blue and orange uniforms of their campus, out in South Bend, Indiana, out in the center of the field now, covering the entire playing field in this mighty stadium, built in 1931, one of the newest in the country. Now the band is condensing itself. They formed a huge eye over the entire playing field. They've now split into various sections and are moving into, we'll spell this out for you as fast as it comes, O-H-I-O, spelling out Ohio. Well, we'd like to stay with this band, but let's paint the picture first and set the stage for the game between Notre Dame and the Fighting Illini from Illinois. When you think of Notre Dame, naturally, one associates immediately the fine football teams, for no one can think of Notre Dame without immediately bringing to mind the famous Rockne system. This is the system of many shifts in the backfield and of manpower galore. While immediately thinking of Illinois, we associate the brilliant schooling of Bob Zupke, who has one of the most intricate and highly complex systems of football schooling known in present-day big-time competition. His teams, while perhaps not so large in size nor in numbers, are equally well-versed in deception, power, speed, and stamina. A moment ago, we mentioned Knute Rockne, and one has but to look at this beautiful stadium. Well, the band is forming an ND, and the roar of the crowd goes up. A partisan crowd for Notre Dame and South Bend, certainly. Again, let's listen for a second. back to a picture of the setting here in South Bend. This is perhaps the most ideally suited stadium in the entire country for football. It's completely built of brownstone bricks. On the outside, and a modernistic design. On the inside, it's rectangular in shape. Concrete tiers rising up almost to the side of the playing field. Row after row in a single-decker stadium holding 55,000 people when completely full. Not only is it one of the most beautiful stadiums in the country, but it's perhaps the newest of the big-time stadiums. The stadium was built in 1931, was started in 30, and was completed in 31, the year of Rockney's death. It's kept immaculately, and the playing field is one of the finest in the land. Newspaper writers will tell you that the press box is both commodious and steam-heated. One of the very few in the country that we can tell you the radio broadcasting booths are the last word in modern equipment. The stadium itself is still on the campus of South Bend. Directly behind us shines the golden dome of Notre Dame Administration Building. To our right is the city of South Bend itself. To our left, the inspiring new Rockney Memorial, which is just being completed. And directly in front of us, the low, flat hills of Indiana. The weather today is clear and cloudless, with a brilliant sun beaming down and the temperature just about 78. Now the Illinois band has turned around, is facing the Illinois rooting section, and again, another Illinois number. The Illinois rooters stood up, heads bared, singing along with this mighty band as it played, facing them. And now the band is marching into the Illinois cheering section, which is on the eastern side of the playing field, and marching off the gridiron. 180 pieces strong, far outnumbering the Notre Dame band, which too is present this afternoon. Well, we've given you the color, a little bit of the surrounding color of this game. You know it's between the Fighting Illini and the Fighting Irish. And so let's get going into the starting lineup. And here is the starting lineup for Illinois. At left end, Ken Zimmerman, Zimmerman, from Kearney, Illinois. He weighs 187 and stands 5'9". He's a nephew of Owen Metcalf, who's athletic director of Crystal Lake High School, where Andy Puplis, last year Notre Dame star quarterback, is now coaching. He played fullback in his sophomore year, halfback his junior year, and is at an end this year. He's already won 2 letters and especially good on defense. At left tackle for Illinois comes Jim Reeder from Tuscaloosa, Illinois. He weighs 215 pounds, 6 feet 1 inch tall, won his letters a sophomore last year. And Zupke says he has the best competitive spirit on the team. He's called Baby Dow. Seems very young for his 20 years of age, and he comes from the same hometown as Chuck Galbraith, was Illinois captain in 36. He's a weight man in track and throws a shot put about 46 feet. At left guard is big Georgie Bernhardt, hails from Riverside, Illinois. He weighs 188 and stands 5'11". He's 19 years old, playing his first year at guard. He's a sophomore. Played fullback all the way through high school and started as an end this fall. Was captain of his high school football team. He's a very quiet lad off the football field, but loves football. He loves to scrimmage. He's a hard tackler and a blocker and mighty fast, so much so that he's used to run interference. At center is the captain of the Illini, Jim McDonald, who was elected captain the same night he was awarded his first varsity letter. He's from Champaign, a local lad, weighs 185 and is 6 feet 1 inch tall. He's known as the Iron Man, as he played all but 23 minutes last season. He was captain of his high school team, was an all-state tackle. He works in the office of the Dean of Men, and he's an excellent student. In his spare time, when not playing football, he enjoys hunting and fishing. At right guard is Wes Martin, Martin. He's an Indiana boy from Indianapolis. He played against his second Indiana team in 2 weeks last week. He's 5 feet 9.5 inches tall and weighs 180. Was a reserve last year. And he's pulled out of the line to lead interference. A very determined lad, an excellent linesman. The national anthem. to the starting Illini lineup. At right tackle is Tommy Riggs, playing his first year for the Illini. He's the biggest of the linemen, weighs 220 and stands a shade over 6'3". Was captain of the freshman teams at Duke and Navy, but lost out at Navy due to deficiency of his eyesight after he'd already left Duke to accept his appointment at Annapolis. He wears a size 14 shoe, and he's only a sophomore. At right end is Bob Costello, also a local lad from Champaign, Illinois. Has the highest scholastic average of anyone on the squad. He's almost straight A's. He's 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighs 190, and has started every one of the games last year. Won 2 letters already. Plays a fine game of golf. Shooting in the low 70s. A great pass receiver, and he's good on defense, too. Fast down the field. At quarterback is Phil Pezzoli, Pezzoli. He's been knocking at the varsity gates for 2 years. He's a senior this year. This is the first time he's ever started a game. He's 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighs 185, and comes from Chicago Heights. He's all keyed up for today, as this is his big chance. He's a good defensive man and a better than an ordinary blocker. He'll not call the signals, but he is a fine punter. He seldom runs the ball. At left halfback is Cliff Patterson, who does call signals. He's a sophomore, has been first string since the first day of practice. He was captain of both basketball and football in high school. Gained all-state recognition in each. He was honorary captain of the freshman team last year. He also plays baseball, and he's a track man. He's from Moline, Illinois. He weighs 185 and stands 6 feet tall. And he's just about the answer to a coach's prayer. At right halfback is Georgie Wardley, called Jay. He's already won 2 letters in basketball and football and is the fastest man on the team. He's from Illinois. He weighs 185, stands 5'11", and he's an expert on passing and canoeing. Although the two have little in common, he is good at both. He's a bit slow getting started this fall, as both his knees have bothered him, but he's a very quick thinker. At fullback is George Rettinger, Rettinger. When he reported out for football last year, no one knew of this lad or what he could do. As a result, he was placed on the 6th freshman team. And from there, he's climbed up the ladder until this year, as a sophomore, he's the starting fullback. He played a full 60 minutes against Indiana last week. Full 60 minutes against Indiana last week. Full 60 minutes against Indiana last accuracy as well as distance. He's from Chicago, weighs 195, and is 6 feet tall. And here's the starting Notre Dame lineup. At left end, Earl Brown, nicknamed Brownie. He's captain-elect of Notre Dame's 39 basketball team. He's 22 years old and was captain of his football and basketball teams, and also starred in track and tennis in high school, winning the regional title in the latter sport in 33. He caught the winning pass of a high school game after ending the game with only 1 minute to play. He was active in Boy Scout work, and he comes from Benton Harbor, Michigan. The Notre Dame team has just come out on the field. At left tackle is Joe Boehner, nicknamed Beefy. He won All-American honors as a junior on the basis of his unusual agility and speed for his 205, 6 feet 2. He went to Europe as a member of an American track squad. He's not quite 21 yet, and he comes from Illinois. He was football captain and all-state guard as well as a basketball guard, and came 5th in the shot put finals. At left guard for the Fighting Irish is the captain of the Notre Dame team, Jim McGoldrick. He's a senior, getting his letter last year. He's not a particularly big man, but belongs to the Notre Dame Watch Charm School of Guards, which includes such luminaries as Hunk Anderson, Burt Metzger, as well as Noble Kaiser. McGoldrick comes from Philadelphia. He's also a great swimmer, plays ice hockey, and was on the crew in Philadelphia. He was not captain of his high school football team. He had to come to Notre Dame to earn that honor. At center for the Irish is Ed Longy, who's the only returning letterman at center this year. He comes from Cheshire, Connecticut, where he captained his basketball team and played football and baseball. He's voted the most valuable athlete in his class, and he's proficient at golf, tennis, and hockey besides football. Right guard is Augie Basso, B-O-S-S-U, who's the only returning right guard out of 6 who saw action for Notre Dame last year. He's a great athletic exponent, playing baseball, tennis, and handball as well as football. Last year, he missed making his monogram by only a few minutes of actual playing time. He's 22 years old, weighs 188, and stands 5'10". At right tackle is Paul Kell, K-E-L-L. He's already made 2 letters in football, making one of the 3 men on the squad with 2 sweaters to his credit. He was born in Princeton, Indiana, but now he lives in Niles, Michigan, 10 miles from Notre Dame. While in high school, he won all state honors in 34, and he was one of the steadiest and most consistent men on the team last fall. His experience should be a big asset to a green Notre Dame line. At right end is John Kelly, nicknamed Shipwreck. He's a junior. He spent last season understudying 4 seniors. He's all-state in New Jersey. His uncle Bill Kelly was a Cornell track star in 15, but John's hobby now is saving old coins. He blocked the punt and recovered the ball at the winning touchdown for Pennington Prep against St. Benedict's in the New Jersey State title game. At quarterback for the Fighting Irish is Steve Sitko, S-I-T-K-O. who's from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's not quite 21. Started both basketball as well as football, captaining both teams in high school. Here come the Fighting Illini on the field. Back to the quarterback, Sitko. He was all-state quarter while in high school. And now at left halfback. Well, we'll tell you about Sitko. He's 21 years old, weighs 183, and stands 6 feet tall. At left half is Harry Stevenson, who jumped from the 6th to the first team in one game last fall. He was captain of his high school track team and a state champion of the javelin throw. He comes from East Orange, New Jersey, one of the best passers on the squad and also a fine all-around punter. At right halfback is Louis Zontini, Z-O-N-T-I-N-I, who comes from West Virginia, although he was born in Ohio. He started his Notre Dame career as a left halfback last fall, winning a letter. He's moved to right halfback with his fine blocking, and spring practice quickly elevated him to the first team. He was captain of his high school team and once won a 70-0 football game with Zontini making 7 touchdowns in one afternoon. His biggest thrill, however, came when his brother John scored 3 touchdowns and beat West Virginia Wesleyan 22-0 while playing for Marshall College. The fullback is the last man for Notre Dame. It's Motts Tonelli. Mario is his correct name, nicknamed Motts, M-O-T-T-S. He hails from Chicago, Illinois. He's the third of the 3 monogram fullbacks on the squad this year. And he starred for the DePaul High School in Chicago in football, basketball, and track. He was captain of the basketball and track teams and a national interscholastic pole vault champion. He was injured early last season, but came back in the finale against Southern California and ran 78 yards to the Trojans' 13-yard line. After a 5-yard penalty on Southern California, he went the remaining 8 yards with 2 minutes to play for a 13-6 Notre Dame victory. His hobbies include riding and boating of various kinds. He's 21 years old, weighs 188, and stands 11 inches over 5 feet. The winner of the toss was Notre Dame. The 2 captains have met in the center of the field. It'll be Notre Dame moving from north to south, Illinois moving from south to north. And before this game starts, here's some scores. First period, Dartmouth 0, Brown 7. First period, Princeton 6, Pennsylvania 0. First period, Yale 0, Navy 0. First period, NYU 0, North Carolina 0. First period, Columbia 0, Colgate 0. First quarter, Harvey 0, Army 0. First period, Carnegie Tech 0, Holy Cross 0. First period, Fordham 0, Purdue 0. Holding for Notre Dame will be Sitko. Booting it will be Ed Longy. The game is just about to start. Notre Dame and Illinois. Game is just starting from South Bend. Here comes the kick. It's going down to the 5-yard line. A beautiful punt. Peterson takes on Illinois' 5. He's back to the 10, the 15, up to the 20, and hit down on the 26-yard line by Paul Kell. Paul Kell, the right tackle of Notre Dame, hits him down on the Illini 27-yard line. It's 1st and 10 for the Fighting Illini. Illinois back into a huddle. Their ball 1st and 10 on their own 27, midway between the 2 sideline stripes. From the Illini out of the huddle, now they shift to the left this time. It's an unbalanced line. The tailback spot is Rettinger. Ball goes back to Rettinger. He's carrying it behind 3-man interference. Tries to go off the short side tackle and loses about 1/2 of 1 yard. John Kelly and Ed Boehner are in much too fast and pull him down. Second down coming up. 10.5 yards to gain. The Illini lost between a half a yard and a yard on the play. Again, the orange helmets of Illinois back into that huddle. They come out of the huddle, go into a modified punt formation. Cliff Peterson's in the tailback now. It's Georgie Rettinger back. Rettinger on a quick kick. A kick going past the 50-yard line down into Notre Dame territory. Bounds on the ND 46-yard line. Moves to the 47-yard line. As it bounded back towards the Illinois kicker, it's Notre Dame's ball, 1st and 10. Bob Costello, the right end of Illinois, touched the ball down for Illinois. It's Notre Dame's ball now, 1st and 10 on their own 47-yard line. The green jersey Notre Dame men go back into a huddle 10 yards behind their own ball. They come out of that huddle now. Ed Longy, the center, gets over the ball. It's a boxcar formation with a strength on the right side. Harry Stevenson's in the tailback spot. Ball does not go to Stevenson, however. It moves back to Steve Sitko. Sitko takes it, plunges into the center of the line. Both sides probably offside on the play, as they had both moved across the line of scrimmage before the center had passed the ball, so I do not believe the down will change. It remains the same. 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. First down, 10 to go for the Fighting Irish. They come out of the huddle once more. This time their signals are correct. They go into a Notre Dame tee. Stevenson goes back out of that on a boxcar formation. The ball goes back to Tonelli. Tonelli into the center of the line. Picks up a big 3 yards before Tommy Riggs, the right tackle of Illinois, can stop the play. Moves the ball out of Notre Dame territory just into the Illini side of the field. It's resting on the 49.5-yard line of the Illini in the possession of Notre Dame. Second down and 7 yards to gain. Notre Dame moves up onto the line of scrimmage now. They shift to the right again. It's Harry Stevenson, the tailback. And again, there's an offside on the play, but this time Ed Longy, the captain of Notre Dame, or rather the center of Notre Dame, does not pass the ball, and there is no play whatsoever. So it's still 2nd and 7 for Notre Dame, and they've just got the ball into Illinois territory by a half of 1 yard. 0-0 score. The first period has just started. A minute and a half of playing time has elapsed in South Bend between Illinois and Notre Dame. Notre Dame out of the huddle. Stevenson back. Ball goes back to Stevenson. Fakes to give it to Sitko. Keeps it himself. Plunges over the short side. Picks up perhaps 1 more yard before Phil Pizzallo, the quarterback of Illinois, can stop him. Moves the ball to the 48-yard line of Illinois in the possession of Notre Dame. Brings up the third down and leaves 5 1/2 to 6 yards to gain. Notre Dame back into a huddle. They come out of that huddle now, move up onto the line of scrimmage. Ed Longy, the center's over the ball. The Notre Dame T formation now. It's over the shift to the right. It's Harry Stevenson's back. Stevenson fading back to Notre Dame's 40 to throw a forward pass. There goes a long pass intended for Kelly. Intended for Johnny Kelly. The right end of Notre Dame, thrown by Harry Stevenson, is not good. Incompleted forward pass. Sailed over his head. So now the down changes. The ball is put down on the 48-yard line of Illinois. It's 4th down coming up and 6 yards to gain. Jay Wardley is back in safety position for the Illini, back on Illinois' 5-yard line. Notre Dame's ball, 4th and 6. Back in the punt formation go the Irish. Harry Stevenson standing back on Notre Dame's 40-yard line. Waiting for the pass from center now. There goes the pass back to Stevenson. He's going to boot it. He does. A high one coming down on the Illini 20-yard line. Bounce back to the 15, going back to the 10-yard line, back to the 5-yard line, back to the 3-yard line, down to the 2-yard line, where Kelly falls at it for Notre Dame. A bounding ball, which was particularly hard to handle, puts the Illini deep in their own territory. 1st and 10 on their own 2-yard line. And now Illinois, with their backs to the wall, must come out of this, the first hole they've been in today. A beautiful kick by Harry Stevenson, very high, landed on Illinois' 20, and bounded back to the 3, where Kelly, the end, fell on it. George Rettinger is standing in the rear of the end zone of the Illini, and he's going to boot from there. He does. There's the kick. A low one coming up is taken by Sitko on Illinois' 35. He fumbles the ball on the 35, but it's recovered by Zantini for Notre Dame. Notre Dame recovers a fumble on Illinois' 35, and it's 1st and 10 for the Irish. Harry Stevenson taking a hard kick to handle. Steve Sitko moving up very nicely, takes that kick, fumbles it. Lou Zantini comes up and falls on it for the recovery for Notre Dame. It's 1st and 10 for the Irish. Comes Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. They shift over the left this time with a T-back formation. Lou Zantini's in the tailback. Zantini following 3-man interference, finds a nice hole off tackle, moves for 2 yards. Before Phil Pizzallo, the quarterback backing up the Illini line, can stop the play. Moves the ball past the 35-yard line down to the 33-yard line. 2nd down coming up, 8 to gain for Notre Dame, and they are well down in Illini territory. First period of the game from South Bend, no score as yet. 3.5 minutes have gone by already. Comes Notre Dame out of the huddle. They shift to the left this time. It's Harry Stevenson on the tailback spot. The ball goes back to Stevenson. He fakes to give it to Sitko. Keeps it himself. Goes into the center of the line and picks up absolutely nothing. Jim Reeder, left tackle of Illinois, spots the play and stops it for a loss of a yard. Moves the ball back to the 35.5-yard line. Brings up the 3rd down and leaves 9.5 yards to gain. Notre Dame suffering a loss on that play. A beautiful day in South Bend. Notre Dame out of the huddle, moves to the line of scrimmage. Harry Stevenson to the tailback spot. Ball goes back to Stevenson. He's fading back to chuck a forward pass. Finds his man. There goes a long pass down in the end zone. It's completed to Earl Brown for a touchdown. A touchdown for Notre Dame. Harry Stevens to Earl Brown. A long pass that time brings up 6 points for the Irish. Harry Stevenson, a 35-yard toss to Earl Brown, who took it on his fingertips going way up in the air to catch it in the end zone, and all he had to do was fall to the ground with that ball, and 6 points had been scored. Here comes the attempted conversion. Steve Sitko is holding. Harry Stevenson will try to boot it. Notre Dame is ahead now, 6-0. Crowd settles down. There's the pass from center. There's the kick up in the air. It's good. It is good. Score is 7-0 in favor of Notre Dame. Getting ready to kick again down to the Illini. Steve Sitko's holding the ball. Ed Longy boots it. There's one, goes back to the Illini 5-yard line. It's rolling around. Rettinger takes it. Laterals over to Wardley. Wardley comes back to the Illinois 10, up to the 15, moves to the 19-yard line before he's finally pulled down by Paul Kell. 1st and 10 for the Illini on their own 19-yard line. The referee moves it up to the 20-yard line. Joe Maddoxson of University of Michigan is the referee of the game. Illinois' ball, 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. Illinois goes back into a huddle. They move out of that huddle now. Jim McDonald, the center and captain, gets over the ball. Rettinger's back in a punt formation for Illinois, standing back on the Illini 10-yard line. He's going to take the ball, try and end run. He's coming around the right side of his line, moves up to the 15, back to the 20, up to the 25, and all the way to the 27-yard line before he's finally pulled down by Mats Tonelli and Ed Longy. Another score. First half, Princeton 6, Pennsylvania nothing. Second down coming up. 3 yards to gain. Illinois, on the hardest charging play of the day, finds big Georgie Rettinger running from 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage to 7 yards past that line. Illinois comes out of the huddle, shifts over to the left. Cliff Peterson's in the tailback. Peterson, following 3-man interference, is being hit behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of about a yard by Earl Brown, left end of Notre Dame. Apparently something was wrong with the play. The referee whistles for the ball. The crowds unpile, and the stadium becomes very quiet. And we'll find out exactly what the penalty is going to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yards called on Notre Dame. Offside. Offside on the Irish, which moves the ball from the stoppage point on that play, which was back on the 25 up to the 30. And, of course, the Illini are yelling, claiming that 2 more yards they are due, and the referee agrees with them. The referee paced off that 5 yards from the point the ball was stopped, which was a loss of play, instead of from the line of scrimmage, and he was in error, and the Illini let go with a terrific booing and hooting. The referee, realizing his mistake, went in and picked the ball up and moved it to the 33-yard line, and it's 1st and 10 for the Illini, and there is their first down of the afternoon. Illini's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 33. The score is 7-0 in favor of the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Cliff Peterson's back on a single wing over to the right for the Illini. Ball goes back, however, to Rettinger into the center of the line. He picks up 2 yards before Augie Basow, right guard of Notre Dame, brings him down. 2 more scores have just come in. First period, Villanova 7, Center nothing. First half, NYU nothing, North Carolina nothing. Time is called out. For a moment, the referee looks like there might be another penalty on Notre Dame here. We'll find out exactly what it is in just a moment. The referee points to Notre Dame. There is no penalty. Notre Dame had asked for timeout. And so the timeout is granted to them, the first timeout of the game. And now for a very brief recapitulation of what's gone before. A punting duel, which actually never got to the duel stages, but watch both teams boot that ball around in the first few moments of the game. Finally went for naught as Notre Dame capitalized on a 35-yard pass, with Harry Stevenson throwing it over the goal line to Earl Brown, who clutched that ball in his fingertips, a typically shoestring catch. Way down in the end zone. Brown fell down with the ball, scored 6 points for the Irish. They converted a moment later, and the score is 7-0 in favor of Notre Dame over of Illinois. The first period, another score. Duke nothing, Georgia Tech nothing. Time is called out on the playing field. And this is a beautiful day in South Bend. Low, white, fleecy clouds floating lazily by on a pale blue sky, almost robin's egg blue. The sun beaming down, the temperature at 78 just before the kickoff. A Illinois band of 180 pieces here, a Notre Dame band of approximately 100 pieces, and approximately 40,000 people assembled in this gorgeous stadium of Notre Dame's, the newest of the big-time stadiums in the country, built in '31. It is a beautiful sight. Well, it's time to resume play. Referee Maddoxon motions over to the captain of Notre Dame, Jim McGoldrick, and the boys doff their helmets and come back to the line of scrimmage. The officials for the game, as we've given you, Joe Maddoxon of Michigan, the referee, John Schomer of Chicago, the umpire, head linesman Ernie Vick of Michigan, and field judge Fred Young of Illinois Wesleyan. Illinois' ball, 2nd and 9. Cliff Peterson's back on a single wing over to the right. He fades back to the Illinois 25 to chuck a pass. He throws it out in the flat. It's intended for Bob Costello, the right end, but is not good and goes for an incompleted forward pass. Brings up the 3rd down and still leaves 9 yards to go. Steve Sitko was in there to bat that down. It's an incompleted forward pass. 3rd and 9 for the Illini, and they must begin to move now, trailing by 7 points in the game from South Bend, which NBC is bringing to you, one of the nation's outstanding grid classics of today. We couldn't call this a typical October football day. It's a little bit too warm for that. Illinois out of the huddle. Peterson in the tailback spot. Cliff Peterson takes the ball. He's following his interference, running around his own right side end, moves up past the 35 to the 36-yard line. Jim McGoldrick, Ed Boehner, and Ed Longine, Mats Tonelli, 4 Notre Dame men come in and stop the play. A gain of about 1 to 2 yards on that play will bring up the 4th down and leave 7.5 yards to gain. Illinois must boot this ball now or take one of those desperate long heaves, one of those chances which have often turned a unknown into a hero and just as often made him a goat. Georgie Rettinger goes back in punt formation for Illinois, back on Illinois' 24-yard line. Sitko's safety for Notre Dame. There's the punt. It's moving down to Notre Dame's 30-yard line, moves past the 30, down to the 25. Sitko takes it, and he's hit immediately by Phil Pozzoli. The quarterback of Illinois comes down there and nails him almost in his shoes, and it's 1st and 10 for the Irish on their own 27. Notre Dame's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 27-yard line. The ball is 15 yards in from the western side of the playing field, almost directly in front of our National Broadcasting Company booth. The green-shirted football men of Notre Dame go back into a huddle. They come out of that huddle, move up to the line of scrimmage. Ed Longy gets over that ball. Notre Dame T formation shifts into a right with Lou Zontini in the tailback. Zontini carries the ball behind 3-man interference, attempting to run his own right end, moves past the 30 to the 35, the 40, the 45, and is hit out of bounds on the 48-yard line. Lou Zontini, circling Notre Dame's left end, is finally hit out of bounds by Jay Wardley of Illinois on the 48-yard line. Moves the ball all the way from the 28 to the 48. A gain of 20 yards. A 1st down is reeled off by the Irish. 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. Notre Dame goes back into a huddle. The Illini defense is a 7-man line almost. It's a 6-man line with the roving center practically in the line. As the play starts, he steps into the vacancy created by his absence. Notre Dame out of the huddle, shifts to the left. Harry Stevenson to the tailback. The ball goes back to Stevenson. He fakes to give it to Sitko, keeps it himself, plunges over the center of the line, picks up about 1.5 yards and fumbles as he does so. Maybe a recovery in there. We're not going to call that, but Bill Pozzolo, the quarterback of Illinois, was in awfully fast. The referee is in just as quickly, trying to untangle that pile, and the players refuse to get up. About 4 men have their arms on that ball, and this may be the break for the Illini if they can get it. They're all piling off the ball slowly but surely now. Notre Dame keeps the ball. Steve Sitko, the quarterback, is the last man up, and under him is the ball. So the ball is recovered by Sitko. 2nd down, 8 yards to go. Notre Dame has moved the ball past the 50-yard stripe of Illinois into the 48-yard line of the Illini, and it's 2nd down coming up and 7 yards to gain. Notre Dame comes out of the huddle, moves up to the line of scrimmage. They're in that Notre Dame T formation. They shift over to the right this time. Harry Stevenson's in the tailback spot. An offside on the play. Ed Longy sees the offside and sees that it's his own side and refuses to pass the ball. A smart thinking center. No ball is passed, and so no play materializes. 1st half, Carnegie Tech 7, Holy Cross nothing. Notre Dame comes out of that huddle now. They move slowly back to the line of scrimmage. Ed Longy gets over that ball. Now Illinois is playing a 7-man line. Harry Stevenson in the tailback spot. The ball goes back to Stevenson. He gives it to Sitko. Sitko keeps it into the center of the line. Goes Mr. Sitko and picks up another big yard. Wesley Martin, the right guard of the Illini, finally stops the play on Illinois' 47-yard line. Brings up third down and leaves 6 yards to gain. 3rd and 6 for Notre Dame. The score is 7-0 in favor of the Fighting Irish on a long pass. Harry Stevenson to Earl Brown. There are 7 minutes of playing time remaining in the first period. Shift over to the right this time. Harry Stevenson's back. Ball goes back to Stevenson. He's fading back to chuck a pass. He does. He throws it out in the flat. It's intercepted by Jay Wardley, the right halfback of Illinois. He moves past the 50-yard line down to Notre Dame's 44-yard line. Wardley of Illinois intercepts a forward pass. And Jim McGoldrick, the left guard of Notre Dame, finally stops Wardley. It's 1st and 10 for the Illini on Notre Dame's 44-yard line. And now Illinois has their chance down in Notre Dame territory. Score at the end of the first half, Dartmouth 14, Brown 13. Substitution coming in. Cliff Peterson is going out at left halfback for Illinois. Bob Worley, W-E-H-R-L-I, has come into the game. Notre Dame goes back onto the defense now. Illinois onto the offense. Illinois onto the offense now. Waiting for that ball to be passed. The referee calls the Illinois team off the offensive for the moment. Steps them back away from the ball 5 yards. One more substitution for Illinois. Jay Wardley has gone out of the game. The man who just intercepted that pass. Don Elting is in at right halfback. More scores pouring into our NBC booth. First half, Harvard 7, Army nothing. First half, Fordham nothing, Purdue nothing. And now it is time to resume play. Illinois has their scoring opportunity now. They're 1st and 10 on Notre Dame's 44. Bob Worley's in the tailback of a modified punt formation for the Illini. Ball goes back to Worley, fading back to the midfield stripe to throw a forward pass. He does. He chucks it out in the flat, intended for Phil Pozzali. It is not good. Pozzali cannot quite reach it. It sails over his head. Ed Longy bats it down earthward, and it goes for an incompleted forward pass and brings up the 2nd down and still leaves 10 yards to gain. Ball is resting on the 44-yard line. Notre Dame's 44, but it's Illini's ball. 6 minutes of playing time remaining in the first period. The score is 7-0 in favor of the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Here comes the Illini up to the line of scrimmage. Jim McDonald's over the ball. George Rettinger's back. Rettinger hands it to Worley. Worley tries to pile off the short side, but picks up nary an inch. Jim McGoldrick, Ed Boehner, the left tackle and left guard of Notre Dame, come in to stop that play. A gain perhaps of a half a yard on the play will bring up the 3rd down and leave 9 big yards still to gain. 9 yards to gain for Illinois. Illinois huddling very seriously now. A very, very fortunate interception. It certainly wasn't lucky. It was well-deserved. Put them with the 1st and 10 on the Notre Dame 44. Rettinger's back. It's going to be a forward pass. He fades back. He's chucking one out in a flat, intended for Bob Worley, but Worley cannot keep his hands on it. Ken Zimmerman comes in and tries to take it, but it goes for an incompleted forward pass. Ed Longy, the center, backing up the line for Notre Dame, bats the ball down. And now it's 4th down for the Illini, 4th and 9. First period, Syracuse nothing, Cornell nothing. First half, Columbia nothing, Colgate 6. Punt formation go the Illini. Rettinger is back on the Illinois 45-yard line. Steve Sitko's back for safety for Notre Dame. Rettinger boots it, a high one. He's angling for the coffin corner. Sitko takes it on Notre Dame's 15 and signals for a fair catch and stops in his tracks, as of course he must. Bob Costello is down very fast for Illinois. That's the right end, and pins Sitko down, although Sitko clearly had his arm up in the air. There may be a penalty on that play, tackling a man who'd signaled for a free catch. Bob Costello came down very fast, and as fast as he saw Sitko's arm up in the air, he tried to pull back and avoid that tackle, but he'd already left his feet, and he did go into Sitko, and there may be a penalty. We'll have to wait and see. Both captains are in talking to Illinois. Certainly, if there is to be a penalty on the play, we can say very, very plainly that it was an unintentional tackle, because Sitko, if anything, was a bit late in getting his arm up. However, the captains agree, and the referee does too, that there is to be no penalty. It was not an intentional tackle of a man signaling for a free catch, and so the ball is 1st and 10 for Notre Dame on their own 15-yard line. The Irish come out of the huddle. They shift to the right this time. Harry Stevenson's in the tailback spot. Ball goes back to Stevenson following 3-minute interference on an off-tackle play. Moves up to the 20 and gets all the way up to the 25-yard line before Jim McDonald, the center of Illinois, can stop him, and it's another first down for the Fighting Irish. Harry Stevenson reels off a first down. A direct off-tackle smash that was strangely reminiscent of Gil Dobie's Cornell days. A power drive, a delayed off-tackle smash with 4 men interference ahead of the ball carrier. Notre Dame comes out of that huddle, shifts to the right again, and still it's Stevenson in the tailback. The ball goes to Stevenson. This is a direct line buck, and there's a fumble. There's a fumble in the center there. Jim Reeder, the left tackle of Illinois, is in like a shot. We'll have to wait and see who recovered that. We're not going to call these unofficially. And it's 1st and 10 for Illinois, a recovered ball. Reeder and McDonald get credit for the recovery, and Illinois has the ball. 1st and 10 on the Notre Dame 26. Playing smart heads-up football. The Fighting Illini have recovered 2 Notre Dame fumbles now. This is their ball, 1st and 10 on the Notre Dame 26-yard line. Illini come out of the huddle. They shift over to the right this time. Bob Worley takes the ball, gives it to Elting. Elting plunges into the center of the line and picks up perhaps 1 yard before Augie Basso, right guard of Notre Dame, stops the play. Moves the ball to the 25-yard line. Is where the referee puts the pill down. 2nd and 9 for the Illini on Notre Dame's 25-yard line. The score is 7-0 in favor of Notre Dame. Come the Illini out of the huddle. They shift over to the right. Bob Worley's in the tailback spot this time. A Notre Dame man is drawn offside on the play. Worley takes the ball, however, goes past the 25, down to the 20, to the 18-yard line before Steve Sitko of Notre Dame, the quarterback, can stop the play. Now we're going to have the captain of the Illini team, Jim McDonald, given his choice probably of accepting a penalty on that play or the gain. We'll see exactly what they're doing. They're calling the ball back to the line of scrimmage, which was 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 back to the 25-yard line. McGoldrick is better off taking the play than he is the penalty. However, that may be wrong. He may be perfectly right by taking the penalty, because while he loses 2 yards, he picks up 1 down. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He elects to take the 5-yard penalty, although he lost 2 yards by doing it. He had moved the ball down to the 18-yard line, but that was smart football. He took a 5-yard penalty there in place of a 7-yard gain because he picked up 1 down by doing it. It is still 2nd down, where it would have been 3rd down had he left the ball where it was at the end of the gain. It's 2nd down and 3 yards to go. Here comes Illinois up to the line of scrimmage this time. Bob Worley's in the tailback spot. The ball does not go back to Worley. It goes to Pacelli on a quarterback sneak, and he goes ahead for about 2 yards before Jim McGoldrick, Ed Longi, and Augie Basso, the 2 guards in center of the Notre Dame team, stop the running attack. That moves the ball to the Notre Dame 23-yard line and brings up the 3rd down and leaves a scant 2 yards to be picked up. But boy, these scant 2 yards are hard to get when you need them. And this Notre Dame team is digging in to stop the hard-charging Illini backs. 3rd and 2 for Illinois, and they're moving down into Notre Dame territory. Don Elding is back this time on a single wing over to the right. Elding carrying the ball behind 4-man interference. It's hit on the line of scrimmage. Ed Longi and Augie Basso knock him down on the line of scrimmage. And there's a gain of about 1 yard on the play, and now here is the picture. Notre Dame leading 7-0. It's 4th down coming up, 1 yard to gain for the Illini. They have the ball on the 17-yard line of Notre Dame. It's 4th down and 1 yard to go. Now, this may be one of the crucial moments of this ball game. If Illinois can pick up 1 yard, they may be touchdown bent. If they lose this 1 yard, they're going to lose the ball. Will they pass? Will they kick? Will they run with it? Redinger is back. Redinger's following 3-man interference. He's being hit behind the line of scrimmage. McGoldrick hits him for a loss. Redinger loses a yard on the play, and there is one of the crucial plays of the game has gone by the boards. Notre Dame takes the ball 1st and 10 on their own 18-yard line. Georgie Redinger trying to run around the right side of the Notre Dame line. The big cheer you hear going up is as the cheering section of Notre Dame below our NBC booth realizes that it's in Notre Dame's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 17.5-yard line. 2 minutes of playing time remaining in the first period. The score is 7-0 in favor of Notre Dame. Stevenson's back this time for the Irish. Ball goes back, however, to Tonelli. Mats Tonelli plunges past the 15, on up to the 20, and moves to the 24 before he's finally pulled down by Phil Pazzali. A beautiful line punch, picks up 8 yards and brings up the 2nd down and leaves 2 1/2 yards to gain for Notre Dame. Tonelli right through the center of the line with a hole big enough to drive a Mack truck through. All right, Notre Dame back huddling. They come out of that huddle, and they go back into the huddle once more as Sitko and Stevenson talk it over. Again, it's going to be Tonelli back. It looks like it's the Notre Dame T formation, but it's Harry Stevenson back early in the first shape, and it's Stevenson back following 3-minute interference, moves past the 20 to the 25, the 30, the 35, and is finally hit down on the 37-yard line by Phil Pozzali, the quarterback of Illinois. Referee blew his whistle on the play, and that gain, which is just about another 10-yard gain, may be completely nullified. Referee had blown his whistle. 12 men on the field. 12 men on the field, it's ruled. An Illinois substitution had just come into the game. And, of course, they having the 12 men, the penalty which would be inflicted on them cannot be inflicted because Notre Dame elects to take the gain. And so it's 1st and 10 for the Fighting Irish on their own 38-yard line. Bob O'Neill has just come in at right end. Bob Costello is out of the game. Notre Dame shifts over to the right this time. Lou Zontini's back. Zontini carries the ball, finds another hole, moves past the 40 up to the 46-yard line before Bob Worley can bring him down. Bob O'Neill, we hope you got that, at right end for Illinois. Bobby Costello out of the game. Almost another first down for Notre Dame, and this will be the 3rd consecutive ripped off in 3 plays, no less. They're bringing in the line sticks to measure it now. 1 minute of playing time remaining in the first period. And it's just missing a first down, I believe. Oh, no, it's a first down. It is a first down. Looked like they were going to miss it by about an inch, but they did not. Well, it's going to be the end of the first period in just a moment. And speaking of the end of things, at the end of the first half, the score was Yale 0, Navy 7. Notre Dame's ball, 1st and 10. On their own 48-yard line. Notre Dame comes out of the huddle. They shift over to the left this time. It's Lou Zontini in the tailback. The ball goes back to Zontini, gives it on a reverse to Stevenson. Stevenson tries to cut through the short side tackle and picks up nary an inch before Ken Zimmerman hits him down, but hard. No gain on that play. In fact, a loss of about 1/2 of 1 yard. A loss of about 1/2 a yard, and we may have a Notre Dame substitution coming in. We have the first man warming up. It looks like Benny Sheridan. Benny Sheridan is moving in at left halfback, and Harry Stevenson is coming out of the game for Notre Dame. Second down coming up, 11 yards to gain for the Irish. They are on their own 47-yard line. The score is 7-0 in favor of Notre Dame over Illinois, and we're just into the closing minute of the first period. Notre Dame shifts over to the left this time. Lou Zontini's in the tailback. The ball goes back to Lou Zontini, gives it to Tonelli. Tonelli cutting around his own right side end, moves past the midfield stripe and moves down to the 47-yard line of Illinois before Don Elting, the right halfback, can pin him down. But again, we hate to keep calling these. There's very obviously an offside on that play, and they're calling back the ball. Calling back the ball and nullifying a 5-yard gain on the play. 50 seconds of playing time remaining in the first period. The score is 7-0, Notre Dame over Illinois. Notre Dame offside, and so a 5-yard penalty moves them from the 48 back to the 43. It's their ball. Of course, the down remains the same, but instead of being 2nd and 11, it's now 2nd and 16. Notre Dame moves up to the line of scrimmage now. Out of the huddle they come very snappily. Ed Longi over the ball. Tonelli in the tailback. Now it's Lou Zontini as they come out of that T formation. Zontini finds a nice hole, moves almost to the 44 before Jim McDonald, the center of Illinois, can stop the play. Moves the ball up to the 45 and picks up a good 2 1/2 yards, which will bring up the 3rd down and leave 13 big yards still to gain. 3rd down and 13 to gain for the Irish. And they have the ball on their own 45-yard line. End of the first period, and they're ahead 7-0 over Illinois. Benny Sheridan back in the punt formation for Notre Dame this time. Ball goes back to Sheridan. He boots it, a high one, giving his ends plenty of time to get down under it. Don Elting is under it on the Illinois 20, takes it on the 20, moves up to the 25, fumbles the ball as he's hit hard by Paul Kell. And again, we're going to wait for the referee to determine just who recovered that ball. Don Elting and Paul Kell were both down there on that ball very quickly. And it is Illinois' ball. And there is the end of the first period. Illinois recovered that fumble by Elting. In fact, Elting recovered it himself. And so it's 1st down and 10 for Illinois on their own 26-yard line. Now the score is 7-0 in favor of Notre Dame over Illinois. We'll be back with you in a moment. We pause briefly for station identification. The Notre Dame band, let's listen. Sorry to take it away, but we've got so many changes in the lineups, we've got to start giving to you. Notre Dame with a new team going in. John Kelly going out at right end. Johnny O'Brien going in. Paul Kell going out at right tackle. Tad Harvey coming in. Johnny Gubinich going in at right guard. Augie Bassau going out. Ed Longy going out at center. Alan Mooney coming in. Joe DeFranco at left guard coming in. Jim McGoldrick, the captain, going out. At left tackle, Ed Boehner going out. Skeets Gallagher coming in. At left end, Bud Kerr. Going in the game, Earl Brown, who caught the touchdown pass, going out. At right halfback, Lou Zantini going out. Paul Morrison coming in. At quarterback, Bill Hofer in. Steve Sitko out. At fullback, Ed Simonich in. Mats Tonelli out. And at left halfback, Benny Sheridan was in and stays in. Now we'll give you a Illinois team in just a moment as soon as they come into the game. They haven't entirely come in, all the players, and we're going to have it too. It's Phillips in for Zimmerman. Well, we'll have to call you these as they go because here comes an Illinois play. It's Rettinger carrying that ball. On a wide end sweep, he moves back to the 20, up to the 25, and is hit down very hard by Benny Sheridan. We'll give you a new Illinois team in just a moment, the first chance we have. Here's the new Illinois line. Jim Phillips is in at left end. Johnny Kursky is in at left tackle. Bob Zwoley is in at left guard. Bill Lenich is in at center. Jim Hodges is in at right guard. Al Landberg is in at right tackle, and Bob O'Neill is in at right end. That's the new Illinois lineup in the line. Here comes Illinois in a modified punt formation. Rettinger back once more, waiting for that pass from center. Rettinger carrying the ball instead, moves past the 35 and goes all the way up to the 40-yard line before Billy Hofer can finally stop the play, and there is a first down reeled off for the Illini. At left halfback is Cliff Peterson just coming in for Illinois. Georgie Rettinger stays in at fullback for Illinois. Bill Pizzali is in at quarterback, and Don Elting is in at left half. Illinois on a single wing over to the right. Rettinger back. Rettinger carrying that ball once more, moves up to the 40, just past the 40-yard line up to the 41 before Joe DeFranco can stop the play, assisted by Big Ed Simonich, the fullback of Notre Dame. And there's a gain of a yard on the play. It's second down coming up and 9 yards to gain. 2nd and 9. Score is 7-0 in favor of Notre Dame. Here come the Illini up to the line of scrimmage this time. It's Don Elting in the tailback. Now it's Rettinger once more. And the change it a third time on this intricate Zupke formation. Peterson gives it to Rettinger. Rettinger tries to get into the center of the line, but cannot do it. Gubinich is in too fast for him, assisted by Skeets Gallagher, the left tackle, and there is no gain on the play. In fact, there's a loss of about, well, we'll call it a half a yard. So it's 3rd and 10 where it was 2nd and 9 a moment ago. 3 men handled the ball that time in the Illinois backfield. Elting, Rettinger, and Peterson. Illinois' ball, 3rd and 10 on their own 41-yard line. Notre Dame deployed into a 6-2-2-1 defense. 6 men on the line, 2 the halfback, or rather fullback and center backing up the line. 2 wing backs out 15 yards back and a safety 25 back. Peterson's back on a punt formation for Illinois. The ball goes to Elting. Elting tries to go off the short side between right guard and right tackle of Notre Dame, but Harvey and Gubinich are in too hard for him, and there's a gain on that play of only a half a yard. It brings up the 4th down and leaves 9 yards to gain for Illinois. Way back in safety position for Notre Dame is Ben Sheridan, as they're expecting a boot from Illinois. Jay Wardley has just gone into the game at right halfback. Don Elting goes out. It's Cliff Rettinger back in punt formation for Illinois, standing back on the Illini 29-yard line. There's the ball passed back to him. He's going to boot it. He does. He gets it away. Not a particularly brilliant kick, but a hard one to handle. goes back to Hofer. Hofer takes it on Notre Dame's 10, is up to the 15, the 20, the 25, the 30, and it's getting away, gets down to the 35-yard line before he's finally brought down by Bill Lenich and Jim Hodges. First and 10 for Notre Dame on their own 34-yard line. They're leading 7-0. The game from South Bend, which the National Broadcasting Company is bringing to you, is one of the season's classics. 7-0 for the Fighting Irish over the Fighting Illini. Notre Dame moves up to the line of scrimmage now. Bill Morrison's in the tailback spot. Ball goes back to Morrison. He gives it to Hofer. Hofer to Simonek. Simonek carries that ball, moves up past the 35 to the 40, and goes just past the 40 to the 42 before Bill Lenich. Bill Lenich can finally bring him down, assisted by Bob Lundell. That'll bring up the second down and leave 3 yards to gain. 2nd and 3 for Notre Dame. They're back huddling. First period, Tulane nothing, Rice 3. First period, Nebraska nothing, Indiana nothing. Comes Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. This time it's Simonek in the tailback. Now it's Benny Sheridan. The ball goes back to Benny Sheridan. He cuts over, finds a nice hole off tackle, and moves past the 45-yard line to the 46 before Al Lundberg, the right tackle of Illinois, can stop the play. That is a first down for Notre Dame. Notre Dame has moved down to their own 46-yard line. First and 10 for the Irish on Notre Dame's 46-yard line. Looking at the Illini defense now, it's a 6-man line with almost 3 men backing up that line. It's Benny Sheridan, the tailback spot, waiting for the ball to be passed. It goes back to Sheridan. He gives it to Paul Morrison. Morrison on a twisting reverse comes around from the short side, attempts to circle his own long side end, which in this case is the left end, and picks up perhaps 1 yard before he's pulled down by Al Lundberg. A gain of 1 yard on the play will bring up the second down and leave, well, we'll call that a gain of 2 yards on that play. 2nd and 8. Another score in the first period. Minnesota nothing, Michigan nothing. Comes Notre Dame back to the line of scrimmage. Notre Dame swings over to the left this time. It's that Notre Dame T formation. It's Paul Morrison in the tailback. Ball goes back to Morrison. He's following 3-man interference, trying to cut around his own right side of the line. And he's being hit behind the line of scrimmage by Cliff Peterson, the left halfback of the Illini. A loss on that play of perhaps 1/2 a yard, although it looked like Morrison just about got back to the line of scrimmage. Will bring up the third down, and the yardage with the gain will be the same. 3rd and 8. 3rd down and 8 yards to gain. Time, I believe, is going to be called out on this play by Illinois. Bob O'Neill, the right end, is slightly hurt on the play, not very seriously. Apparently his shin was kicked because he's looking at his leg just a bit. The trainer has come in, and there's a big smile on the lad's face, so he seems to be perfectly all right. Now he's getting back up onto his own feet under his own power. In his place, undoubtedly, will come Bob Costello. We say undoubtedly because it was O'Neill who took Costello's place in the first period, so they'll probably make the same change. Here's a Notre Dame cheer. And it's going to be Bobby Costello coming into the game now. Bobby Costello in at right end as Bob O'Neill goes out of the game walking very ably, but not taking a chance on aggravating that injury. They take him over to the sidelines very wisely. Ralph Eny has come in at quarterback, and Phil Pizzoli goes out of the game. That's for Illinois. Well, the score is 7-0 in favor of Notre Dame over Illinois. 7-0. And it is 3rd down coming up, 9 yards to go. The Irish have the ball on their own 47-yard line. We are not quite halfway through the second period of the game. Here's another substitution for Illinois. John Ranowski has come in at fullback. Georgie Rettinger has gone out of the game. That's for Illinois. Notre Dame back into a huddle now as play is resumed in this beautiful stadium in South Bend, and almost a beautiful football day. A little bit warm, otherwise it's perfect. Where we had the hot sun beaming down in the early stages of the game, now the sky has become a bit cloudy. Clean, white, fleecy clouds. Notre Dame out of the huddle. Benny Sheridan's in the tailback. Now it's Paul Morrison back, waiting for the pass from center. The ball goes back to Morrison. He gives it to Sheridan. Sheridan trying to cut around his own short side end, trying to cut around his own short side end, trying to cut around his own short side end, trying to cut around his own short side end. This time is thrown for a loss by Jimmy Phillips, the left end of Illinois. A loss of pretty close to 7 yards on that play. He threw Morrison all the way back on the 38-yard line. And that will bring up the 4th down and leave 18 yards to gain for Notre Dame. 4th and 18 for the Irish, and they have the ball on their own 38-yard line. Jay Wardley, in at right halfback for Illinois, is back in safety position on Illinois' 20-yard line. Benny Sheridan's back in punt formation for the Irish. Sheridan is back on Notre Dame's 30-yard line. He's going to boot it. He does. A high kick going down the field. Wardley is under it. Takes it on the 30-yard line and drops the ball as he picks it up. A whole host of Notre Dame tacklers are in on it. Harvey, Gubinich, Mooney, DeFranco are all in on that play. Johnny O'Brien, the right end, too. Notre Dame recovers the ball. Jay Wardley fumbled as he took that kick and tried to advance it. It's Notre Dame's ball, 1st and 10 on the Illini 29-yard line. 1st and 10 for Notre Dame, and on that exchange, or rather on that punt, they picked up a lot of yardage. As Jay Wardley dropped that ball and Johnny O'Brien fell on it. 1st and 10 for the Irish. They come out of the huddle, shift to the right. Ed Simonich is in the tailback now. It's Benny Sheridan back. The ball goes back to Sheridan, single wing to the right. Sheridan moves past the 30, down past the 25, down to the 20, down to the 15, and is finally knocked out of bounds on the 14-yard line. Cliff Peterson, the left halfback of the Illini, finally stops the play by forcing Benny Sheridan out of bounds on Illinois' 14. It's 1st and 10 Illinois' 14. It's 1st and 10 Illinois' 14. It's 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. Notre Dame comes out of that huddle, moves up to the line of scrimmage, and then decides they're going to change the signals as they see that the defense has been changed while they were huddling. That's one of the disadvantages of the huddle. Now Notre Dame comes back onto the line of scrimmage. Again, it's Benny Sheridan in the tailback spot, waiting for the pass from center. It's now Paul Morrison back as they shift to the left. Morrison takes the ball, finds a hole, moves past the 14, down to the 13, before Bill Lenich can finally stop him. The play goes all the way down to the 12-yard line. A gain of 2 yards on that play. Brings up the 2nd down and leaves 8 yards to gain. And now Illinois digging in furiously to stop this hard-charging running attack of the Irish. Notre Dame back into a huddle once more. They're down on the 12-yard line of Illinois. Here comes Notre Dame out of the huddle. They go into that familiar Notre Dame T formation with the 3 backs parallel with the line of scrimmage. Benny Sheridan's in the tailback. The ball goes back to Simonich. Simonich drops that ball, drops the ball, and it looks like it's recovered by Illinois. It is recovered by Illinois. Peterson recovers for Illinois. A recovery on the 13-yard line, and it's 1st and 10 for the Fighting Illini. 1st and 10 for Illinois. Ed Simonich trying to punch through the short side of the Notre Dame line, dropped the ball as he hit the line of scrimmage. The ball bounded back in the left halfback. Cliff Peterson, assisted by Jay Wardley, the right halfback, came through there and fell on the ball, and it's 1st and 10 for Illinois. Illinois moves up to the line of scrimmage now. They shift to the punt formation. Peterson goes back. The ball goes back to Ralph Eni. Eni into the center of the line, and he picks up about 1.5 yards before he's hit down by Alan Mooney. Moves the ball up to Illinois' 15-yard line. Notre Dame out in front, 7-0 over the Fighting Illini. We have 6 minutes of playing time remaining in the first half. The score is 7-0, Notre Dame's favor. The Illini have the ball on their own 17-yard line. Peterson is back once more in a punt formation for the Illini, waiting for the pass from center. The ball goes back to Eni again, who gives it to Ranoski. Ranoski into the center of the line. Gubinich and DeFranco pull him down after he had picked up perhaps another 2 yards. And the moves the ball up to the 14-yard line now, and it's 3rd down and 4. 3rd and 4 for Illinois. Once more, they go back into a punt formation. Will this be a fake punt as the other two have been? Kanoski is back. It's going to be a kick. Kanoski boots it, a low spiral kick. Benny Sheridan takes it on Notre Dame 35. He's back to the 40, up to the 45, the 50, down to the 45, the 40, and is finally hit down on the Illini 38-yard line. Jay Wardley makes the tackle. Benny Sheridan doing as nice a tightrope act as we've ever seen. Right down the sidelines he streaked. moves the ball all the way back from the 35 to the 38. 35 of Notre Dame and the 38 of Illinois. It's first and 10. First and 10 for Notre Dame now. They have the ball on the Illini 38-yard line. Benny Sheridan is coming out of the game. That's the boy who just made this brilliant run back. In his place is going Bobby Sagaw. Emmett Crow is going in at quarterback. Bill Hofer is coming out of the game. Those are two substitutions for Notre Dame. Comes a substitution coming in at end for Illinois. We'll give it to you as fast as he replaces a man so that we give you the correct Ken Zimmerman back in the game, and I believe he'll replace the left end Jim Phillips. And it's Phillips who goes out of the game. Phillips out, Zimmerman in. Bobby Sagaw in at left halfback for Notre Dame. Emmett Crow in at quarterback. Bill Hofer out. Another score. First period, Chicago 0, Iowa 7. Notre Dame has the ball first and 10 on the Illini 38-yard line. About 5 minutes of playing time remaining in the first half of the game with Notre Dame in front. 7-0. Notre Dame back into a huddle. Now they come out of that huddle, move up to the line of scrimmage. Shift over to the right this time. It's Bobby Sagaw on the tailback spot. Bobby Sagaw carrying the ball. He's fading back to throw a forward pass. Flips it out in the open to Emmett Crow. Crow takes the ball on the Illinois 35. Goes down to the 30. Moves down to the 28 before Bobby Costello can stop him. Costello finally brings him down, assisted by Bobby Engel. Bob Sagaw and Emmett Crow. A beautiful pass that time. Bobby Sagaw fading back to throw it. Emmett Crow catching it. Notre Dame back into a huddle once more now. It's another first down for the Irish. They have the ball down on the 28-yard line of Illinois. Notre Dame comes out of the huddle. They shift over to the right this time. Single wing back formation. Bobby Sagaw on the tailback. The ball goes back to Simonitz. Simonitz into the center of the line. Goes through almost down to the 20-yard line before he's pulled down by Bill Lenich. The 24, 23, 22, 21, all the way down to the 20-and-1/2-yard line. That moves the ball down to the Illini 20-yard line and will bring up the second down and leave 3 yards to gain. Time is called out for the moment while the Illini take stock and try and whip that defense back into the shape it was a moment ago and stop this hard-charging Irish offense. Notre Dame doff their helmets, as do Illinois. The boys take off their helmets in this hot, practically a midsummer sun. The temperature was 78 as the game started, and we have another score which has just come in. The first period, Alabama 0, Tennessee 6. At center, we have Jim McDonald. At center, that's the captain of the Illinois team, replacing Bill Lenich, who's going out. Lenich out and Jim McDonald into the game. Emmett Crow is in at quarterback, as you know, for Notre Dame. He replaced Billy Hofer. Paul Morrison has stayed in at right halfback. Herb Gottsacker has come in at fullback. Ed Simonitz has gone out of the game. Bobby Sagaw is in at left halfback. That's the Notre Dame backfield. The score is 7-0. In case you hear that big cheer going up, that's for Ed Simonitz as he comes out of the game. Well, it's just about time to play football again, and there are 3 minutes of playing time remaining in the first period. Notre Dame is on top of a 7-0 score over Illinois. The game is coming into the last few minutes of the first half, and Notre Dame goes back into a huddle as it is time to play football all over again. Incidentally, the Illinois backfield is Cliff Peterson at left halfback, Ralph Eney at quarterback, Jay Wardley at right half, John Kanoski at fullback. Notre Dame out of the huddle, a shift to the right, Paul Marison's back. Ball goes back to Gottsacker. Gottsacker trying to carry the ball, is hit for a loss and drops the ball as he does. It's picked up by Bobby Sagaw, and Sagaw loses another 5 yards. A loss of very close to 10 yards on that play. Hal Gottsacker dropped the ball on the 28-yard line of Illinois. It was picked up by Bobby Sagaw, and Sagaw ran backwards trying to get away from a tackler, moved all the way back to the 38-yard line, but the referee ruled that the play had been stopped where Gottsacker lost the ball, and so it becomes Notre Dame's ball back on the 29-yard line, a loss of 1 yard on that play. Brings up the third down and leaves 11 yards to gain. A shift over to the right this time. Bobby Sagaw on the tailback spot. Ball has not been passed. It goes back to Sagaw following 3-minute interference. He moves past the 30 down to the 25, gets away from another tackler, moves down to the 24, and is finally hit down on Illinois' 23. Jay Wardley stops little Bobby Sago down on the 23-yard line after he had picked up 7 big yards. And a substitution is coming in for Illinois. We'll call it for you as fast as the man reports to the referee and we find out who he is replacing. Jim Reeder is coming in at left tackle. John Kurski going out. Left tackle for Illinois. 4th down coming up, 6 yards to gain for Notre Dame. The ball is on the 23-yard line of Illinois in the possession of the Irish. Notre Dame is in front, 7-0. A long pass, a 35-yard toss in the early stages of the game was good for the touchdown, and the conversion was very good, and so the score is 7-0. Another tackle is going out of the game. Riggs is coming in. Tommy Riggs is in at right tackle. Al Lundberg goes out for Illinois. We have 2 tackles in the game now, 2 new tackles. Reeder in at left tackle and Riggs in at right tackle. Notre Dame goes back into a huddle. Huddling now 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but they'll probably move back. The referee calls the 2 quarterbacks together. That's Elini. No, he calls Jim McDonald, the center of the Illinois team, and Emmett Crow, the quarterback of the Notre Dame team, together. Ask them if they're both ready to resume play. They say they are. And so we have another substitution coming in. Apparently something was wrong with the plays which Crow has been calling for. Sitko comes in. Steve Sitko is coming in at quarterback. Emmett Crow coming out and getting a well-deserved beautiful hand and running that team beautifully. Notre Dame back into a huddle now. They move back to the line of scrimmage. The ball's down on the 23-yard line. 4th down coming up now. Paul Morrison in the tailback spot. Morrison carries that ball, moves past the 20, down to the 15-yard line, goes all the way down to the 13-yard line before Jay Wardley, the left halfback of Illinois, can stop the play, assisted by Jim Reeder, and there's a 1st down for the Irish on the Illini 12. 1st and 10. Paul Morrison going down beautifully, throwing one body tackle after another, or rather body block. 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. They shift to the right this time. It's Paul Morrison in the tailback spot. Ball goes back to Morrison. He gives it to Gottsacker. Gottsacker to Sago. Moves down to the 10-yard line where the play is stopped by Bob Engel. A gain of perhaps a yard to 2 yards on that play will bring up the 2nd down and leave 8 yards to gain. The ball is resting exactly on the 10-yard line. It's Illinois' 10, but it's Notre Dame's ball, and the score is 7-0 in favor of the Irish. Here come the green-jerseyed Notre Dame Warriors up onto the line of scrimmage. Bobby Sago's in the tailback. Ball goes back to Sago, and there's a fumble in the Notre Dame backfield. The ball's rolling around loose, and Sago finally tries to go back there and fall on it. Kenny Zimmerman, the left end of Illinois, Jim Reeder, and Bob Engel, the entire left side of the line, are in there like a flash, and the referee will have to unpile this entire mess to find out who recovered that. The ball rolled all the way back to the Illinois 21-yard line. And Notre Dame fumbled the ball, and it's recovered by Ken Zimmerman of Illinois. It's 1st and 10 for the Illini. 1st and 10 for Illinois on their own 21-yard line. Peppel goes into the game, and he's replacing Hal Gottsacker at fullback. Gottsacker comes out for Notre Dame, and Peppel goes into the game at fullback. The Illinois ball, 1st and 10, and here's a 5-yard penalty on Notre Dame. Moves the ball to the 26-yard line. Too many timeouts in one half as the substitutions coming in. Here comes Illinois up to the line of scrimmage now. It's their ball, 1st and 5 on their own 26. They shift to the left. John Kanowski's back. Ball goes back to Cliff Peterson. Peterson following. Nice interference. Moves up to the 30-yard line. Goes past the 30 to the 31. Before Milt People, the fullback, assisted by Steve Sitko, the quarterback of Notre Dame, can stop the play. That's very close to a 1st down. It'll be 2nd down for the Illini and about 1 yard, less than 1 yard to gain. The ball is resting on the 31-yard line. Not quite the 31. 1 minute of playing time remaining in the first half. The score is Notre Dame 7, Illini nothing. Kanowski is back. The ball goes back to Jay Wardley. He's trying to circle his own right side and being hit for a loss behind the line of scrimmage. He's just about to get back to the line of scrimmage. Paul Morrison, the right halfback, came in very fast. The referee moves the forward motion of that ball. Had not been stopped to the 32-yard line, and they may measure this for a 1st down. It is a 1st down for the Illini, just by inches. A 1st down for Illinois, 1st and 10 on their own 32. Illinois back into a huddle. Just a half a minute of playing time remaining in the first half. Here comes Illinois out of the huddle now. It's Peterson in the tailback spot. Ball does not go back to Peterson. Goes to Kanoski. He's fading back to throw a pass. Gives it to Peterson. And Peterson is hit for an 11-yard loss on the 19-yard line. Skeets Gallagher, the left tackle of Notre Dame, comes through. Here's the way that play worked. John Kanoski took the ball from center. Gave it to Peterson. Peterson, in turn, gave it back to Kanoski. Kanoski faded way back to his own 19 to chuck a pass. He wasn't able to get rid of it. In came the Notre Dame line, and a loss was rung up of 12 yards on the play. There's the end of the first half. The end of the first half from South Bend, Indiana, which the National Broadcasting Company is bringing you the swelligant game between Notre Dame and Illinois. The score is Notre Dame 7, Illinois nothing. And it's now halftime. We'll be back with you in just a moment, but we pause very briefly for station identification. And coming down the field, that mighty musical organization we told you about earlier in this broadcast, the band of the University of Illinois, 180 strong. Let's listen. The Illinois band has just spelled out I-R-I-S-H, Irish, and have faced the Notre Dame stands. Again, let's listen. Gone out of that Irish formation. They have now dropped their instruments and they're starting to sing. So again, let's all listen. band once more resumes its marching formation. The instruments come up. And we ask you, is that some band? Again, they're going to play, and again, we're all going to listen. Now the band has reversed itself, is facing the Illini section, and is spelled out I-L-L-I-N-I, Illini. In front of the band is an Indian chief in full Indian regalia. He is Ed Kalb of Springfield, Illinois. Again, some singing, but as the band is facing away from our NBC microphones, let's utilize this opportunity to give you a recapitulation on the scores which have come in all during the first half and which you might have missed. At the end of the half, Princeton 6, Pennsylvania nothing. At the end of the half, Navy 7, Yale nothing. At the end of the first half, NYU nothing, North Carolina nothing. At the end of the third period, Colgate 6, Columbia nothing. At the end of the first half, Harvard 7, Army nothing. At the end of the first half, Carnegie Tech 7, Holy Cross nothing. At the end of the first half, Fordham nothing, Purdue nothing. At the end of the first half, Dartmouth 14, Brown 13. At the end of the first half, Duke nothing, Georgia Tech nothing. At the end of the first half, Villanova 13, Center 6. At the end of the first half, Syracuse nothing, Cornell 3. At the end of the first period, Nebraska nothing, Indiana nothing. At the end of the first period, Tulane nothing, Rice 3. At the end of the first period, Minnesota nothing, Michigan nothing. At the end of the first period, Northwestern nothing, Ohio State nothing. At the end of the first period, Chicago nothing, Iowa 7. At the end of the first period, Alabama nothing, Tennessee 6. At the end of the first period, Wisconsin nothing, Pittsburgh 7. That's the end of the first half, we should have said. At the end of the first period, Georgia nothing, Mercer nothing. One last score which just came into our NBC booth, in fact, two of them. Third period, Fordham 6, Purdue nothing. Third period, Carnegie Tech 7, Holy Cross 6. And here's one more. Third period, NYU nothing, North Carolina 7. And the game here, Notre Dame, an inspired Irish team playing magnificent football, is leading Illinois 7-0. Here comes the Notre Dame band. Let's listen. Notre Dame band has faced the Illini cheering section. They've dropped their instruments, and they are singing. Now the Notre Dame band is spelled out I-L-L-I-N-I, Illini, and is facing the Illini cheering section.
Off the field to a very well-earned hand. The band resplendent in its dark blue uniforms, white caps, white Sam Brown belts, blue drums, white drum heads, and all gold instruments. Very beautiful spectacle. Notre Dame has come back on the field, the team, and here comes Illinois, and here comes some scores. First half, Nebraska nothing, Indiana nothing. Third period, Dartmouth 20, Brown 13. Notre Dame band is marching off the field, and in just a moment we'll be off the field, and in just a moment we'll be off the field, and in just a moment we'll be resuming the third period of the game from South Bend, Indiana, which NBC is bringing you. And the Notre Dame team starting the second half will be John Kelly at right end, Paul Kell at right tackle, Augie Basu at right guard, Ed Longy at center, Jim McGoldrick at left guard, Ed Boehner, Beefy Boehner at left tackle, Earl Brown at left end, Lou Zantini at right halfback, Steve Sitko at quarterback, Mats Tonelli at fullback, and Benny Sheridan at left halfback. That's the entire same team which started the game with the exception of Mott Henning, which started the game with the who's in. Notre Dame goes on next week to play Carnegie Tech. Then comes Army, and after Army comes Navy, and after Navy comes Minnesota. After Minnesota comes Northwestern, and after Northwestern comes Southern California. And any way you look at that, it's one of the hardest schedules in the nation. The cheer you hear going up as some of the scores are given to you, which we've already broadcast. Illinois plays Northwestern next week, and then comes Michigan. After Michigan comes a rest period of 1 week. Then Ohio State, and after Ohio State, Chicago, and that winds up the season for the Fighting Illini. Well, the teams go back on the playing field, and we're going to have them taking their places in just a moment, and it will undoubtedly be Illinois kicking off, Notre Dame receiving. And again, we'll go back over that Notre Dame lineup. There may be a change because Elmer Layden is talking to one of the boys now. Benny Sheridan may not go back in. Yes, Benny Sheridan is going to stay in that game at left halfback as we gave it to you. And so here is the Illinois lineup. We'll give it to you just as fast as they get out there. At left halfback, Bob Worley. At fullback, George Rettinger. At quarterback, Phil Pizzoli. Well, there goes the referee's whistle. So we'll have to call these for you after the play starts. Referee holds his hand up. Holding the ball will be Bob Worley. Kicking will be John Skimmage. He boots it back. Ben Sheridan takes it on the 15 of Notre Dame. He's up to the 20, the 25, the 30, and is hit down on the 31-yard line by John Sekic, the right tackle of Illinois. Notre Dame's ball, first and 10 on the 33 of Notre Dame. It's their own ball on their own 33-yard line, and we've started the second half of the ball game. Notre Dame out in front, 7-0. Here comes Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. They shift over to the right this time. It's Benny Sheridan, the tailback spot. Ball goes back to Sheridan following 3-minute interference. Cuts off the short side tackle. Phil Pizzoli, the quarterback, comes in to make the block and the tackle and stop the play on the 34-yard line. A gain of 1 yard on the play. 2nd down and 9 coming up. 2nd and 9. Notre Dame goes back into a huddle now, deployed about 10 yards behind the ball. The second half has just started. The score is 7-0 in favor of the Irish. Here comes Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. They shift to the right once more. It's Benny Sheridan back. An offside on the play. Ed Longy passes it, however. Mats Tonelli gets away. He's up past the 35, the 40, the 45, up to the 50, and finally run out of bounds on the 45-yard line of Illinois. And now it's going to be a question as to who was offside on that play. If it was Illinois, naturally, Notre Dame is going to take the play, and that's exactly what happened. It was Illinois. Notre Dame elects to take that gain. So it's 1st and 10 if they allow the play, and I believe they will. I see no reason for not allowing it. It's 1st and 10 for Notre Dame on the Illini 46-yard line. An aeroplane flying very low overhead, as perhaps you can hear. Some more scores have come in while time is out for the moment. First period, Texas A&M nothing, Texas Christian 6. First half, Alabama nothing, Tennessee 6. First half, Northwestern nothing, Ohio State nothing. Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. Now they shift over to the right this time. Mats Tonelli's in the tailback spot. Now it's Zantini. Ball goes back to Zantini. He follows 4-man interference this time. Tries to get over the right side end, but is knocked down by Ralph Hathaway, the left guard. Here is the Illinois team now. At right end, Bobby Costello. At right tackle, Tommy Riggs. At right guard, Wes Martin. At center, Jim McDonald, the captain. At left guard, Ralph Hathaway. At left tackle, Jim Reeder. At left end, Kenny Zimmerman. At right halfback, Bob Worley. At quarterback, Phil Pizzoli. Rettinger at fullback, and Wardley at left half. Notre Dame out of the huddle. Zantini in the tailback spot. Ball goes back to Tonelli. Tonelli into the center of the line for a gain of at most 1 yard. We'll bring up the 3rd down and leave a big 7 yards still to be gained. Tommy Riggs made the tackle. 3rd and 7 1/2 to gain. Here's another score has just come in. Third period, Harvard 14, Army 14. Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. They go back into that T formation, out of which must come one more shift, either to the right or to the left. It's Zantini back. The ball goes back to Zantini. Zantini fumbles it. However, it's picked up by Tonelli. He's 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, runs back to the 45 and gets down to the 43. Just about the line of scrimmage before Tommy Riggs, the right tackle of Illinois, pins him down. Just about returned that ball to the line of scrimmage, and time is requested out by Notre Dame. All right, now we'll give you once more, a little bit slower, the Illinois lineup. Bobby Costello at right hand, Tommy Riggs at right tackle, Wes Martin at right guard, Jim McDonald. Jim McDonald is center and captain of the Illini team, in at center, Ralph Hathaway at left guard, Jimmy Reeder at left tackle, Ken Zimmerman at left end, Bob Worley in at right halfback, Phil Pozzoli at quarterback, Georgie Rattinger in at fullback, Jay Wardley at left halfback. Mats Tonelli, who carried the ball on that play, was slightly hurt. He's back on his feet now. A big cheer is going up from the Notre Dame cheering section. However, he has his helmet off. He'll probably resume play. Now the referee stoops over, picks up his helmet, gives it back to Tonelli. Tonelli puts it on his head and walks back into the Notre Dame huddle. The boy is not hurt, and he seems to be able to play football again, and so he resumes his position. And now it will be time to start playing all over again. And so they huddle once more, Notre Dame being the they in question. It is now fourth down, coming up 6 yards to gain. Notre Dame has the ball on Illinois' 43. We're in the third period of the game from South Bend, which the National Broadcasting Company is bringing you, and the score is 7-0 in favor of the Irish. Jay Wardley at right halfback is back in safety position for Illinois in case of a quick kick. First period, Texas A&M nothing, Texas Christian 6. Here comes Notre Dame out of the huddle. They move up to the line of scrimmage. Benny Sheridan goes back into a punt formation for the Irish. He's standing on the Irish side of the 50-yard line. Looks like it might be a quick. The ball's passed back to Sheridan. He boots it. It's a high one going down to Wardley, who takes it on the Illini 5. He lets it roll away, and it rolls out of bounds on the 3-yard line. Roll out of bounds on the 3-yard line. A beautiful kick that time. A peach by Benny Sheridan. Goes out of bounds on Illinois' 4-yard line. The referee moves it back to the 5-yard and says that's where it went out of bounds. And it's 1st and 10 for the Illini. That's twice kicks have put them deep in their own territory. It's 1st and 10 for Illinois on their own 5. An inspired Notre Dame team playing magnificent football. Comes Illinois out of the huddle. They shift into a punt formation. Rattinger is standing back 3 yards from his end zone. Benny Sheridan is in safety position for Notre Dame. It's going to be a punt. Rattinger boots it. It's coming up the field. Sheridan takes it on the 40-yard line of Illinois. He runs back to the 38-yard line, gets away from another tackler, finally goes down to the 37 before Bob Worley spins him out of bounds on Illinois' 37, and it's 1st and 10 for the Irish on the Illinois 37-yard line. 1st and 10. In the third period of the game, the score is 7-0 in favor of Notre Dame over the Fighting Illini. Notre Dame wearing those green and white jerseys, brown trousers, green stockings, black shoes, and brown helmets. Notre Dame out of the huddle into their usual T formation. Lou Zantini takes the ball, gives it on a twisting spinner to Benny Sheridan. Sheridan moves past the 40 and is hit out of bounds on the 37. George Rattinger, the fullback, backing up the Illinois line, finally drives Sheridan out of bounds on the 37. A gain of about 1.5 yards on that play will bring up the 2nd down and leaves 2nd and 9. 2nd and 8.5 or 9. 3 minutes of playing time have elapsed in the third period. 12 more minutes in this period and 15 minutes in the last period. 27 minutes of playing time remaining. Sheridan back this time. Now it's Zantini. Zantini takes the ball behind. Beautiful interference, trying to run his own man. It's hit for a terrific loss by Bob Costello. A loss as the right end of Illinois comes sailing through and throws Zantini for a loss of at least 10 yards. Moves the ball all the way from the 37 back to the 47-yard line. Zantini, trying to run his own right end, is hit on a beautiful tackle by Bob Costello, the right end of Illinois, and there's a loss of about 10 yards on the play. But the play is being called back. Play is called back to the 37-yard line. We'll see where they're going to run it, and it's a 15-yard penalty on Illinois. A 15-yard penalty on Illinois, holding. 15-yard penalty on Illinois moves them back. Instead of having the ball, Notre Dame having the ball on their own 47, they have it down on the 19-yard line. That's the difference a penalty can make. It's first down, 10 to go for the Irish on the 19-yard line of Illinois. Notre Dame shifts over to the left. Zontini is back this time. Zontini fakes to give it to Sitko, keeps it himself, gets off the short side, moves down almost to the 15-yard line when he sits down by Bob Worley. Picks up 2 yards as he moves that ball down to the 12-yard line. We'll see exactly. The referee moves it back, however, past the 15 to the... See where he calls that. He calls it back on the 16-yard line, and it's second down coming up and 7 yards to gain. Notre Dame back into a huddle now. They haven't come out of that huddle. Looking over at the Illinois defense, we see it's a 6-2-2-1 defense. Here comes Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. It's Benny Sheridan in the tailback spot. The ball goes back to Mats Tonelli. Tonelli on a delayed line, buck into the center of the line. Picks up perhaps an additional 2 yards before Ralph Hathaway, the left guard of Illinois, can stop the play. That moves it just about down to the 15-yard line and brings up the third down and leaves better than 5 yards, 5.5 yards to gain. Notre Dame's ball, they're midway between the two sideline stripes, and they're leading Illinois 7-0 from South Bend, Indiana. Here comes Notre Dame out of the huddle. They shift to the right this time. It's Benny Sheridan, the tailback. Ball goes back to Sheridan. He's cutting around his right side, and he's hit on the line of scrimmage. A magnificent tackle by Martin. Wesley Martin comes in and says that's as far as this play is going. The ball is stopped on the 15-yard line. No gain on the play, and it brings up the fourth down. Now here's the picture. Notre Dame out in front 7-0 over Illinois. Has a chance. If they want to try a field goal here, they're in perfect position for it. The ball is resting on the Illinois 14-yard line directly in front of the goal post halfway between the two sideline stripes, and it looks like it's going to be a placement with Steve Sitko holding and Mats Tonelli booting it. Sitko holding, and Tonelli will be back there to kick it. There's the pass from center. There's the boot. It's up in the air. It is not good. It is not good. The kick goes wide, a bit to the left, and the kick is not good, and so the score remains Notre Dame 7, Illinois nothing. Some more scores have come in despite the fact that that score was not good. First half, Minnesota nothing, Michigan nothing. Third period, Yale nothing, Navy 7. First half, Tulane 13, Rice 3. First period, Vanderbilt nothing, Mississippi nothing. First half, Chicago 7, Iowa 14. And third period, Princeton 6, Pennsylvania nothing. Comes Illinois up onto the line of scrimmage. It's their ball, first and 10 on their own 20. Worley takes the ball, hands it on a reverse to Wardley. Wardley coming around the short side of his line, gets just back to the line of scrimmage when the entire Notre Dame line seems to guess where the play is going. And aided by Zontini, they come in and knock the play down for no gain. Second down and 10 to go for Illinois. They move the ball from the middle of the playing field, however, to 15 yards away from the western side of the playing field, which incidentally is the same side our NBC booth is located on. Illinois' ball moves up to the line of scrimmage. They come out of the huddle. Bob Worley's in the tailback spot. Worley goes back. The ball goes to Rettinger. Rettinger gives it to Wardley. Wardley into the center of the line, picks up 4 big yards before Ed Longy, the center of the Notre Dame team, can stop it. A delayed line buck right into the center of the line, which looked for a moment like it was going to be a reverse, but turned out to be nothing more than a delayed line buck. Goes down to the 25-yard line. Illinois' ball on Illinois' 25, and it's third down coming up and 5 yards to gain. Ed Longy backing up the line, stopped the play. Illinois back into a punt formation. Rettinger standing back on Illinois' 18-yard line. It's a punt formation. Rettinger takes the ball. He boots it. He just gets it away. Sheridan back on Notre Dame's 30. Takes it. He's back to the 35. Up to the 40. The 45. Up to the midfield stripe. Down to the 45. Down to the 40. The 35. The 30. The 25. The 20. The 15. The 10. The 5. It's a touchdown. Benny Sheridan runs back a punt for Notre Dame. Well, we hope a little peace, a little sanity is returned. Benny Sheridan took a kick back on the 30-yard line, behind the 30-yard line of Notre Dame, and went 67 yards for a touchdown. The Irish are out in front, 13-0. Here comes the try for the extra point. Sitko holding, Mats Tonelli booting. Referee blows his whistle. There's the pass from center. The ball is down. The kick is up in the air. It is good. It is good. The score is 14-0. Notre Dame leads 14-0, and the entire assembled crowd of well over 40,000 stand up to pay tribute to this great Fighting Irish team. Team going into the game. Earl Brown coming out at left end. Bud Kerr coming in. Ed Bainer out at left tackle. Skeets Gallagher in. Jim McGoldrick out at left guard. Joe DeFranco in. Ed Longy out at toe in. Ed Longy out at toe in. Ed Longy out at John Gubanek in at right guard. Augie Bassau out. Paul Kell out at right tackle. Ted Harvey in at right tackle. Johnny Kelly out at right end. Johnny O'Brien comes in. Harry Stevenson in at left halfback. Benny Sheridan, who just scored on a 67-yard run, goes out. Bill Hofer in at quarterback. Steve Sitko out. Not 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 in. That is a new Notre Dame team. Here's some more scores which have just come in. First half, Georgia 14, Mercer 7. Final, Mercer 7. Final, Mercer 7. Incidentally, the announcer you hear on the loudspeaker system, if you do hear it, Chuck Fleming, who kicked the field goal to defeat Illinois, is in attendance in the stadium, and he booted that field goal for the Irish in 1898. He's watching the game today. All right, Bill Hofer is holding the ball. Paul Morrison is going to kick for Notre Dame. Here comes the boot. Simonich kicks it way down. A bad kick rolling around on the Illinois 25-yard line is taken by Bobby Costello. He comes back to the 30, up to the 35, and finally hit out of bounds on Illinois' 37-yard line. There's a new team coming in for Illinois, too, and we'll give you that in just a minute. Bobby Costello stays in at right end. Tommy Riggs goes out at right tackle. Al Lundberg comes in the game. Wes Martin out at right guard. Jim Hodges in. Jimmy McDonald out at center. Bill Lenich in. At left guard, Ralph Hathaway goes out. Bill Engel comes in the game. At left tackle, Jim Reiter goes out. John Kishke comes in. At left end, Ken Zimmerman goes out. Jimmy Phillips is in. At quarterback, Ralph Eney is in. Phil Pizzolo is out. Jay Wardley goes out at right halfback. Don Elding comes in. John Kanowski is in at fullback in place of Rettinger. Bob Worley stays in at left halfback. Here's a play. Kanowski carrying the ball. Gets away for Illinois. He's up past the 40, up to the 45, and moves down to the 50-yard line. Harry Stevenson, Ed Simonich, and Paul Marison finally stopped the play, and there's a first down for the Illini. Oh, here comes a penalty on Notre Dame on that play. A penalty of 15 yards. Holding on the play moves them back to the 35-yard line, and it's now 1st and 10 for Illinois on Notre Dame's 35. 1st and 10 for Illinois on Notre Dame's 35-yard line. Here comes Illinois out of the huddle. They shift to the right this time. It's Bob Worley in the tailback spot. Ball goes back to Worley. Worley fakes to give it to Kanowski. Keeps it himself. Gets past the 30. Goes down to the 25 and is down to the 23 before Billy Hofer can stop him. Now Illinois beginning to move down the field. Runs off another first down. It's 1st and 10 for the Fighting Illini on Notre Dame's 23. Notre Dame out in front, 14-0. Here come the Illini out of the huddle. They shift over to the right this time. It's Bob Worley back. Worley carrying the ball into the center of the line before Joe DeFranco. He drives into the center. DeFranco stops him, however, on the play. No gain. 2nd down coming up. Still 10 yards to gain. 2nd and 10. Illinois back into a huddle now. They're having one of their best scoring opportunities of the afternoon. Can they keep going? Here's a substitution at right tackle. Tiny Kramer has come in. Al Lundberg out. All right. Kanowski has the ball. Kanowski running around the left side of the Illinois line. Picks up perhaps 1 yard before Skeets Gallagher, the left tackle of Notre Dame, stops the play on the 21-yard line, 22-yard line. 3rd down and 9 yards to gain for Illinois, and they are 21 yards away from a touchdown. Score is 14-0 for the Irish of Notre Dame. Comes Illinois up to the line of scrimmage now. They shift to the right this time behind a single wing back formation. John Kransky is back now. It's Ralph Eney fading back to chuck a forward pass. He throws it out on the flat. It's completed to Bobby Costello, who laterals over to Don Elting, who's finally knocked out of bounds on the 10-yard line. A completed forward pass goes down to Notre Dame's 10-yard line, and it's 1st and 10 for Illinois. Ed Simonich finally drives the ball out of bounds. Illinois moving down the field, moving down. They have the ball 1st and 10 on the Irish 10-yard line. The ball is brought in from the sidelines, 15 yards in from the eastern side of the field, away from our NBC booth. Here comes Illinois up onto the line of scrimmage. It's Don Elting in the tailback spot. The ball goes back to Elting. He fakes giving it to Kronowski, keeps it himself, moves just past the 10, down to the 9 before DeFranco and Gabanich. The two guards, assisted by Ed Simonich, the fullback of Notre Dame, stopped the play. A gain of 1 yard on that play, 2nd and 9, and it's 9 for a touchdown, not for a first down. 7 minutes of playing time remaining in the third period. The score is 14-0 in favor of Notre Dame. Here comes Illinois up to the line of scrimmage now. They shift to the right this time. It's Kanowski in the tailback spot. The ball goes back to Kanowski. He keeps it himself. Fakes giving it to Worley. Now does give it to Worley and plunges over the short side on a double fake behind the line of scrimmage. Alan Mooney and Ed Simonich. Again, a gain of another yard. 2nd and 8 coming up. The ball's been moved down to the 8-yard line. 8 1/2 to be exactly, technically correct. It's 3rd down coming up. And the ball is just about 15 yards in from the sideline. A bad angle for a kick should they want to try one. Of course, what they want is a touchdown. Elting is back this time. Don Elting. The ball goes back to Don Elting. He's cutting around his own short side and is hit for a loss of 4 yards. Don Elting is thrown back on the 12-yard line by Johnny Gabanich, the right guard, and Paul Morrison, the right halfback of Notre Dame. But they have moved the ball directly in front of the goalpost. It's resting on Notre Dame's 12-yard line, and this is the 4th down and 12 yards to go for a touchdown. And here comes one of those crucial moments. What will Illinois do? What would you do? All right, here comes Illinois. They go into a punt formation. Ralph Eni is back, and they're going to try a pass. Eni cocks his arm back, throws it out in the flat. Oh, it was intended for Bobby Costello, but he couldn't get his hands on it. It's incomplete. Incomplete forward pass intended for Bobby Costello or Don Elting. Sailed just past their fingertips, and the ball moves over to the Irish. It's their ball, 1st and 10 on their own 11 1/2 yard line. Substitution, Alan Mooney going out of the game at center, McIntyre coming in for Notre Dame. The Irish are huddling back on their goal line. The ball is resting on the 11-yard line. 5 minutes of playing time remaining in the third period. The score is 14-0 in favor of the Irish over Illinois. Johnny McIntyre at center's over the ball now. Notre Dame comes up to the line of scrimmage. They shift to the right. Harry Stevenson's in the tailback spot. Ball goes back to Stevenson. He finds a nice hole, plunges up past the 10-yard line, picks up a big 2 yards. Before Tiny Kramer, the right tackle of Illinois, stops the play on the 12. Gain of about 2 yards on that play will bring up the 2nd down and leave 8 yards to go. Harry Stevenson, the ball carrier. Tackle Tiny Kramer and Bob Costello. Costello, the right end of the Illinois, just dropped a pass which might have meant a touchdown. It might not have, too. He had a chance of being caught before he went over. But no matter how bad you Illinois rooters feel, remember, that boy, and he is only a boy, feels just twice as bad. Harry Stevenson back this time for Notre Dame. The Notre Dame T formation. They go out of into a punt formation. Ed Simonich takes the ball, plunges into the center of the line, moves past the 15, up to the 16 before Ralph Eni, E-H-N-I, quarterback of Illinois, can stop the play. Ball is pulled back from the 16, moved up to the 18-yard line is where the referee says the play was stopped, and he being right down on the field, he certainly should know whereof he speaks. And so with the score 14-0, Notre Dame over Illinois. Notre Dame moving down the field once more. It is now 3rd and 2. Notre Dame comes out of the huddle, a T formation of theirs. Paul Morrison's back this time on a single wing to the left behind him. Paul Morrison fumbles the ball, picks it up, and is being hit back on his own 13-yard line by Jimmy Phillips, John Kershke, and Bob Engel. The entire left side of the Illinois team come in and pin down Paul Morrison, who dropped that ball but recovered. A loss of about 2 yards on the play will bring up the 4th down and leave 8 yards to gain. 4th and 8 for Notre Dame. Safety for Illinois is Don Elting, standing on the midfield stripe. Booting it will be Harry Stevenson on his own goal line for the Irish. He's standing back on the goal line waiting for the pass from center. There it goes back to him. He's going to kick it. He does it. Blocked. It's blocked almost out on the goal line. There's a whole pile of tacklers down there. Let's wait for the referees for the official decision on that play. Harry Stevenson had his kick blocked on the 1-yard line by Tiny Kramer, the right tackle of Illinois. The ball was blocked, and it's 1st and 10 for Illinois on Notre Dame's 1-yard line. First and 10 for the Fighting Illini on the 1-yard line of Notre Dame. Well, here's the chance the Illini have been waiting for. First and 10 on a block punt. Tiny Kramer claimed through to block Harry Stevenson's kick. Danny Kanowski's back this time, a single wing to the right. The ball goes to Ralph Eny. He's into the center of the line. Whether he may... It is over! A touchdown! A touchdown for Illinois! Touchdown scored for the Fighting Illini. Ralph Eny, quarterback, on a quarterback sneak, goes right through the center of the line and picks up a big 6 points for Bob Zupke's hosts from Champaign-Urbana. The score is now 14-6, with Notre Dame still on top. Now we'll have the attempted conversion. Holding, we'll see when they come out of the huddle. Of course, the Notre Dame stands are pleading to block that kick. It's going to be Bob Worley holding. Ralph Eny, who scored the touchdown, will try the kick. Bob Worley, the left halfback of Illinois, holding. Ralph Eny kicking, and the kick is blocked. The kick is blocked. It is not good. The score is 14-6. The Illinois band strikes up, and we listen. Now the teams come back up the field, and once more, this is a much closer ball game. Anything can happen, and anything generally does. Don't count this Illinois team out yet, and don't count Notre Dame ever out of a picture until that last gun has gone off. For you followers who think a game might be over with a 1 or 2 touchdown lead, remember the Ohio State-Notre Dame battle of 1935, which saw the Fighting Irish come back in the fourth period, score 3 touchdowns, and win the game as the last gun went off. Elding is going to hold. Jim Hodge is going to kick for Illinois. Giving the score here of the Michigan-Minnesota game, which we've already given to you. Here comes the kick now. Hodge booting for Illinois. He comes forward. He boots it. A nice kick going back to the 12-yard line where Bill Hobart takes it. He's up to the 15, the 20, the 25. Gets up to the 30 and is hit down by Jim Hodges and Tiny Kramer. And now it's first and 10 for the Irish on their own 30-yard line. Billy Hofer, the quarterback, making the run back. Here's the final on the Columbia-Colgate game. Colgate wins 12-0. Bobby Sagal coming into the game at left halfback. Harry Stevenson going out. It's Harry Stevenson who, kicking, that time had his kick blocked, which led to the Illinois touchdown. Score is 14-6. Notre Dame over the Fighting Illini. Here comes the Irish up to the line of scrimmage. They shift to the left this time. Bobby Sagal, the newcomers in the backfield. Paul Morrison, however, is in the tailback spot. The ball goes back to Morrison, and he fumbles it, but he falls on the ball. Paul Morrison, the right halfback of Notre Dame, fumbles the ball on the 25-yard line, Notre Dame's 25, but falls on it immediately as fast as he does. And so there's a loss of pretty close to 5 yards on the play, and it'll be second down coming up and 15.5 yards to gain. Bobby Costello and Jim Phillips, the two ends of Illinois, were in like a shot that time and pinned down Morrison before he could get started after he picked that ball up. 2nd and 16. Notre Dame huddling now. Inspired running attack of the Irish has produced 2 thrilling touchdowns. A pass was one, and a 67-yard was the other. Here comes Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. That Notre Dame T formation out of which must come another shift. Bobby Sago's back on a modified punt. He carries the ball behind 5-man interference with the tackles ahead of him. He's up to the 25, the 30, the 35, the 40, the 45, and is finally hit down on the 48. Don Elding brings down Bobby Sago as he runs the ball all the way up to Notre Dame's 48-yard line. 1st and 10. John Kursky was also in on that play. 1st and 10 for the Irish on their own 48-yard line. Bobby Sago, the left halfback of Notre Dame, running very beautifully back from his own 25 up to the 48-yard line, a gain of 23 yards on the play. Comes Notre Dame out of the huddle up to the line of scrimmage. Ed Simonich is on the tailback now. It's Bobby Sago once more. The ball goes back to Sago. He gives it on a reverse to Morrison. Morrison tries to cut over the short side on a twisting reverse, but is spilled very neatly by Tiny Kramer, who blocked that punt, and assisted by Bob Engel. 2 tackles come in very fast and stop the play. A gain of perhaps nothing on that. maybe a half a yard if you really want to be technical, and there's 1 minute and a half of playing time remaining in the third period. Score is Notre Dame 14, Illinois 6. Just a few seconds, this third period is going to be over. Notre Dame goes back into a huddle, and they haven't come out of that huddle now. They move up to the line of scrimmage. Ed Simonich is back this time. They have two shifts, however. The second one. 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 They have two shifts, however. The second one puts Bobby Sagoe back. The ball goes back to Sagoe. He fakes to give it to Hofer. Keeps it himself. Throws it out on the flat, intended for Bud Kerr at the end, but Bud Kerr is nowhere near it. Ralph Elmy, the quarterback of Illinois, bats it down. An incompleted forward pass and brings up the third down and still 10 yards to gain. Final score, Carnegie Tech 7, Holy Cross 6. Notre Dame goes back into a huddle. Huddling, the ball is resting on the Notre Dame 48-yard line. Bobby Sagoe, Bud Kerr was the man who that pass was intended for. Comes Notre Dame out of the huddle up to the line of scrimmage. It's a T-shaped formation, out of which will come a shift either the right or the left. It's a modified punt. Sagoe back. Sagoe carrying that ball behind foreman. Interference is hit on the line of scrimmage by Jim Hodges, the right guard. Jim Hodges and Bill Lenich, the center and right guard of Illinois. It's the center and right guard of Illinois. It's the center and right guard play. And the fourth down is coming up. And the Illini seem to have solved the Notre Dame running attack for the moment at least. And here comes the final score on the Carnegie Tech game, which we just gave you, and you'll hear the cheer go up as it's announced. Hear it? There it is. Safety man for Illinois is Don Elting. Don Elting is back for Illinois on their own, on Illinois' 15. Bobby Sagoe is back in punt formation for the Irish. He's going to boot it. He does. A left-footed kicker, but a right-handed passer. He boots a beauty. A beauty going back into the end zone. Oh, not into the end zone. It bounds this way. It bounds towards the playing field, and Billy Hofer, the quarterback, falls on the ball on Illinois' 2. Once more, we have Illinois put deep into a hole on a punt. A beautiful punt that time. Looked surely like it was going into the end zone. It hit down on the 5-yard line. The safety man, Don Elting of Illinois, figured, as did everyone else, that surely it would carry 5 yards. It didn't. It was one of those queer quirks of a football. It hit on the 5 and bounded almost straight up in the air and came down on the 3. And Billy Hofer came in to pin it down, and it's Illinois' ball, 1st and 10 on their own 3. Illinois comes out of the huddle now, goes back into a punt formation. Ralph Elmy standing with his back almost to the goal post. But the ball's taken by Elting, who gets up to the 5-yard line. A gain of 2 yards before Johnny Gubinich, the right guard, stops the play. The second down coming up and 8 yards to gain. 2 more scores have just come in. Final, NYU nothing, North Carolina 7. Final, Dartmouth 34, Brown 13. And the loudspeaker is making so much noise, as you can probably hear, that the Illinois team waves their hands at the speakers as much as to say, please be quiet. Illinois into a punt formation with, and there's a running play with Bob Worley carrying the ball into the center of the line. But the center, Bill Lenich, really should have held on to that ball as the gun went off ahead of it. However, he did pass it, but the quarter ends. That is the end of the third quarter, and the score is Notre Dame 14, Illinois 6. Now, we'll be back with you in just a moment in NBC's broadcast of this game from South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame 14, Illinois 6. In just a second, we'll all be back here. We pause briefly for station identification. Right now, an entire new 11 men, which are just getting out on that field now. We're going to call this team off for you. And here's the old team, which was in there, and the new team, which they're replacing. At right end, Johnny Kelly going in, Johnny O'Brien going out. At right tackle, Paul Kell going in, Tad Harvey going out. At right guard, John Gubinich going out, Augie Basso coming in. At center, Alan Mooney going out, Ed Longy coming in. At left guard, Joe DeFranco going out, Jim McGoldrick coming in. At left tackle, Skeets Gallagher going out, Ed Boehner coming in. At left end, Bud Kerr going out, Earl Brown coming in. At right halfback, Paul Morrison going out, Max Burnell coming in. At quarterback, Billy Hofer going out, Steve Sitko coming in. At fullback, Ed Simonich going out, Milt People in, and Bobby Sagoe stays in the game at left halfback. That's a completely new Notre Dame team which has just come into the game. With one or two exceptions, it's almost the Notre Dame lineup which started the battle. Now the Illinois team, they too have changed a lot of their players. We'll give them to you. Jimmy Phillips is in at left end. Johnny Kurski is in at left tackle. Bob Engel is in at left guard. John Kurski is in at center. Jim Hodge is in at right guard. Tiny Kramer is in at right tackle. Bob Worley. Well, we'll have to call the rest of this for you in a minute because Illinois has the ball on their own 5 and they're back in punt formation. Kanoski is going to boot from way back in his end zone. He does. He gets a high one away, end over end. Sitko takes it on the midfield stripe, comes back to the 45, the 40, down to the Illinois 40, or rather 37-yard line, before he's finally hit down by Bobby Engel. 1st and 10 for the Fighting Irish on the Illinois 37-yard line. It's 1st and 10. Bob Costello is in at right end. We didn't quite get to that for the Illinois a moment ago. Bob Worley is in at left halfback. John Kanoski is in at fullback. Don Elting is in at right halfback. And Ralph Eny is in at quarterback. There are two new teams. Notre Dame shifts over to the right this time. It's Max Burnell in the tailback spot, waiting for the pass from center. Burnell takes the ball, finds a nice hole, goes past the 35, down to the 40, and moves all the way down, or rather down to past the 30, down to the 27, before he's finally pulled down by Don Elting. He took the ball on the 40, went down past the 35, down past the 30, down to the 26-yard line before he was finally pulled down. And just to make matters a little bit worse, here comes another team in for Illinois. Not an entire new team, but about 6 new players are warming up on the sidelines. We'll give them to you in just a minute. Wesley Martin is coming in at right guard. Jim Reeder is in at left tackle. Ken Zimmerman is in at left end. That's in place of Jim Phelps. Reeder is in place of John Kurski. Ralph Hathaway is in at left guard in place of Bob Engel. Jimmy McDonald is in at center in place of Brill Lennick. Wes Martin is in place of Jim Hodges at right guard. Tiny Kramer goes out at right tackle. John Seekich comes in at right guard. Bob Costello stays in at right end. A new line, with the exception of one man for Illinois. Notre Dame has the ball. Max Burnell goes back, hands it on a reverse to Bobby Sago. Sago tries to cut over the short side and is hit down after he picks up 1 big yard by Wes Martin. Moves the ball from the 26 down to the 25 and 1/2 is where the referee puts it down. So it's 2nd down coming up and approximately 9 1/2 yards to gain. Backfield for Illinois as remains as we gave it to you, unless they hoist in 4 new men, which it looks like he's going to do in just a moment. He being Bob Zupke. Here comes Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. It's Max Burnell in the tailback spot this time. The ball goes back to Burnell. He gives it on a reverse to Bobby Sago. Sago cutting around his own right side end. Gets back to the 26 after he fades back to Illinois' 30. Moves back to Illinois' 26 and is hit down by Kenny Zimmerman. Phil Fazoli has just come in at quarterback for Illinois, replacing Ralph Eny. Bob Worley stays in at left halfback. John Kanoski stays in at fullback. And Tony Mazika is in at right halfback. Don Elting has gone out. That's 9 new men in for Illinois and an entirely new team in for Notre Dame. Here comes a shift over to the right this time. The Irish have the ball deep in Illinois territory. Bobby Sago is back. The ball goes back to Sago. He's fading back to chuck a forward pass. And he's hit just as he throws it. It's intercepted by Ken Zimmerman. Zimmerman takes it to the 35, over to the 30. Goes fast up to the 40, the 45, up to the 50, down to the 45, the 40, the 35. He real goes with Pizzola. And he's finally hit out of bounds past the 15 down to the 10-yard line. Pizzola is finally hit out of bounds by Steve Sitko. We'll give you that play all over again. An interception by Ken Zimmerman of Illinois laterals the ball to Phil Spazzola. Spazzola goes down the left sideline all the way down to Notre Dame's 10-yard line. Down to the 9 to be exact, where it's 1st and 10 for the Illinois. 1st and 10 for the Illini on Notre Dame's 9-yard line. A run of 64 yards. That just about ties that run we had earlier of 67 yards of Benny Sheridan. Illinois' ball, 1st and 10 on the Notre Dame 9-yard line. And there's 13 more minutes of playing time remaining in the 4th period. Comes Illinois up on the line of scrimmage. It's their ball, 1st and 10 on the Notre Dame 9-yard line. John Kanoski is back. Kanoski hands the ball to Worley. Worley goes down to the 7-yard line before he's hit down by Max Burnell and Milt People. A gain of about 1.5 yards on that play will bring up the 2nd down and leave 7 yards away from a touchdown. Bob Worley, the left halfback, doing some very clever faking in that backfield of the Illinois. And now Notre Dame must stop this running attack of the Fighting Illini. Illinois huddling now. The ball's on the 9-yard line. Notre Dame's 9. It's Illinois' ball. Notre Dame's ahead 14-6. Bob Worley's back this time. He takes the ball. Following 3-minute interference. Goes past the 10. Down to the 5-yard line. He's hit on a beautiful tackle by People, who knocks him back to the 7. And the referee will undoubtedly put that ball somewhere in the neighborhood of the 6-yard line. And that's exactly where he places it, on the 5.5-yard line. And it's third down coming up now. Third down coming up. And a scant 6 yards, but that's an awful hard 6 yards to get. 6 yards to go for a touchdown for Illinois, and Illinois needs this touchdown to come pounding back, surging into this ball game. And how they've come back. Bobby Worley takes the ball. He's going to chuck a forward pass. He throws it out in the flat. It's intercepted by Ed Longy. He's up to the 10, the 15, the 20, the 25, the 30, and he's finally knocked down on the 31 by Jim McDonald. Ed Longy, center of Notre Dame, intercepts a forward pass and runs it back to Notre Dame's 31, and it's the South Bend boys' ball, 1st and 10 on their own 31. Bob Worley throwing that ball, intended for Phil Pizzoli. Notre Dame's ball now. Ball's resting on the Irish 31-yard line. Notre Dame comes out of that huddle, goes back into their regular T formation. Bobby Sago's in the tailback spot. Now they go back into a punt formation. Ball goes back to Milt Pipel. He finds a nice hole, goes past the 35, up to the 40, to the 45-yard line. He's finally being pushed back by a whole host of Illinois tacklers. Bob Worley, in particular, moves him back to the 43. However, the referee says that the play was stopped on the 45-yard line, and that would mean a first down for the Irish. It is 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. 1st and 10 for Notre Dame on their own 46-yard line. And time is called out for the moment. Time is called out by Illinois, and the score is 14-6. And here's some other scores which have just come in. The final on the Fordham-Purdue game. Fordham 6, Purdue 6. Third period, Duke 6, Georgia Tech nothing. Third quarter, Wisconsin nothing, Pittsburgh 13. First half, Texas A&M nothing, Texas Christian 13. Score here in South Bend in the game which the National Broadcasting Company is bringing you is 14-6 in favor of the Fighting Irish over the Fighting Illini. A very thrilling run a moment ago, however, almost produced another Illinois touchdown when Pizzola went 64 yards down to Notre Dame's 10-yard line, and it looked like he was away. However, he was pulled back on the 10-yard line, and a moment later, Phil Pizzoli threw the ball intended for Bob Worley, or rather Bob Worley threw it intended for Phil Pizzoli. It was intercepted by Ed Longy, who returned it to Notre Dame's 31-yard line. And on the next play, they ran the ball, they being the Irish of Notre Dame, to the 46-yard line, their own 46, and that's where the ball is now. It's 1st and 10 for Notre Dame on their own 46-yard line. There are 11 minutes of playing time remaining. The score is 14-6 in favor of Notre Dame. Jim McGoldrick, left guard and captain of the Notre Dame team, walks into the center of the playing field, talks to the referee. And here's some more scores. Villanova 29, Center 6 in the third period. First half, Vanderbilt nothing, Mississippi nothing. Here comes Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. Bobby Sago's on the tailback. The ball goes back to Bobby Sago behind 3-minute interference. He finds a hole over the short side, moves up past the 45 to the 50-yard line, and just gets down into Illinois territory before Phil Pizzola, the quarterback, and Jimmy McDonald, the center, backing up the Illinois line, bring him down. A gain of about 5 yards on that play. It'll be second down coming up and 5 yards to gain. 2nd and 5. Notre Dame comes out of the huddle now, moves up back to the line of scrimmage. Longy gets over the ball, the T formation now. Bobby Sago's in the tailback. The ball goes back to Milt People. People plunges over the center of the line and goes down to the Illinois 40. Or rather, Illinois 44-yard line before he is pulled down. And that is very close to a first down. Again, it's Pizzoli and McDonald, the center and quarterback of Illinois, who stopped the play. That's so close to a first down that they're going to measure it. While they measure it, let us give you the final on the Harvard-Army game. It is Harvard 17, Army 20. Here comes that score over the loudspeaker system. And you hear the cheer go up as of course, here these people are very much interested in South Bend and what Army has to do, because week after next they must face the Army. Notre Dame's ball now, and it is Third down and less than 1 yard to go. About 1/2 of a yard to go. Maxie Burnell's in the tailback spot this time. Now it's Bobby Sago back. The ball goes back to People. People plunges into the center of the line. Moves down past the Illinois 40-yard line, and there is a first down reeled off for the Irish. Pozzoli, the quarterback, finally comes in to make the tackle, and it's 1st and 10 for the Fighting Irish on Illinois' 39-yard line. Notre Dame back into a huddle now. Looking at the Illinois defense, we see that they've moved Jimmy McDonald, the center, right up into the line, playing a 7-man line to stop this hard-charging Notre Dame attack. Burnell carrying the ball, fakes to give it to People, keeps it himself, plunges over the short side tackle, drives through there, and a laid line buck, and Jimmy McDonald stops him after he'd picked up a yard. Gain of 1 yard on the play. A complicated play, but only 1 yard picked up. Another score just came into our NBC booth. Third quarter, Syracuse nothing, Cornell 10. Notre Dame huddling, and we're looking at that Illinois line. It's a 7-man line right now. Bobby Sago's back this time for the Irish. Ball goes back to Sago. He takes it behind form interference, tries to cut around his own right side. But Jimmy Reeder spills him on one of those one-handed tackles, which only Jim Reeder can do. However, Sago moved down to the 35-yard line and picked up an additional 3 yards. So it'll bring up the third down and leave a 6-yard lapse still to be gained. Notre Dame out in front, 14-6 in Illinois in the 4th and final period of the game from South Bend, which NBC is bringing you. Comes a shift over to the right. Max Burnell's in the tailback this time. A reverse sit go to People. People into the center of the line. Jim Reeder stops the play. 1 yard gain. That'll bring up the 4th down and leave 5 yards. However, as they untackle, the ball is moved back about 1 yard, which nullifies the 1 yard gain we gave you. And there's no gain on the play, and so it's 4th and 6. Notre Dame has the ball now, 4th and 6 on the Illinois 36-yard line. 9 minutes of playing time remaining. The Irish in front, 14-6. Tony Mazika's back in safety for Illinois, but not back very far. Bobby Sago's back in punt formation. That's the left halfback of the Irish. He's standing back on the Illinois 46-yard line. He's going to boot it. He angles for the sidelines. It's a high one. It's coming down on the Illinois 15-yard line, and immediately Jim McDonald, the captain of Illinois, falls on the ball. And it's 1st and 10 for the Fighting Illini on their own 15-yard line. The ball was between that imaginary line, 15 yards out, and the sidelines, and so it's brought out to the 15-yard line marker. Illinois' ball. They go back into a huddle. They have the ball, 1st and 10 on their own 15. Here comes Illinois up onto the line of scrimmage. They go into a wide-open punt formation with Worley back, but the ball goes back to Kanoski. Kanoski into the center of the line and picks up nary an inch before Augie Basso and Jim McGoldrick stop the play. A gain of absolutely nothing on that play will bring up the 2nd down and leave those same 10 yards to be gained. Third quarter, Georgia 21, Mercer 7. Third quarter, Minnesota nothing, Michigan nothing. Illinois back huddling once more. Now looking at the Notre Dame defense, we see that it's a 6-man line with the center and the quarterback backing up the line of scrimmage. The 2 wing backs out 15 yards back, and the safety man, who's the fullback this time. Here comes the pass from center back to Bob Worley, who gives it to Maziki for Illinois. He's trying to cut around the Illinois right side and is being hit back on the 14-yard line for a loss of a yard. Max Burnell, the right halfback of Notre Dame, cuts in out of nowhere. Stops the play after it had lost 1 yard. Tony Mazika takes a twisting reverse from Bob Worley. Worley took the ball, cut around to his right, handed it to Mazika, who was coming around to his left. Absolutely no gain on that play, and so the 3rd down comes up. And where they had 10 yards to go a moment ago, they being Illinois, they now have 11. 3rd and 11. Referee blows his whistle, and time is requested out for the moment by Notre Dame. Notre Dame asked for timeout. And so, again, we'll be back with you in just a moment, but we pause very briefly for station identification. Well, it's in the 3rd quarter of the game here. It's 14-6. Notre Dame is out in front over Illinois. We have 6 minutes of playing time remaining. Here's a Notre Dame cheer. Here's the final on the Yale-Navy game. Yale 9, Navy 7. Ball is resting on the 15-yard line. It's Illinois' 15, and it's Illinois' score. The down is the 3rd, and Illinois has 11 yards to go. The Navy score was just announced in the stadium here. And, of course, they're very interested out here in South Bend how Army and Navy do, because they must, as we told you a moment ago, face both of these teams. Army in a couple of weeks and Navy a little bit later along the line. And that's why they follow the fares and fates of those two teams. A very interesting game today, very, very interesting, between a team of Notre Dame players who got out to a very bristling, fine start. One forward pass connected for a touchdown. Another punt was run back 67 yards for one. And then came Illinois' crack. And the Illini on a block kick received the first down on the Notre Dame 1-yard line. A quarterback sneak. A moment later by Steve Sitko took that ball right over. Or rather by Ralph Eney. Took the ball right over for the Illinois touchdown. Illinois, however, was not able to convert for the extra point, and so the scores remained 14-6. We had one very big thrill a moment ago, however, when Illinois, Phil Pizzoli ran down the sideline 64 yards. Now it's Worley carrying the ball. He chucks a pass out in the open to Maziki. Maziki takes it on Illinois' 30, and it's a completed pass. A completed pass on Illinois' 30, thrown back on the 5 by Bob Worley. That should be good for a first down for the Fighting Illini. 6 minutes remaining in playing time. Notre Dame leads 14-6. Ed Longy and Jim McGoldrick, the two center and left guard of Notre Dame, are in there protesting on that, but apparently there's no reason for the protest, for the referee does not allow it. Here comes Illinois up into the line of scrimmage, and they move up very rapidly. Bob Worley's in the tailback. He's going to throw another forward pass. He does. He chucks it out in the center. Intended for Bobby Costello. It is not good. Costello, it is not good, and it goes for an incomplete forward pass. Steve Sitko, the quarterback of Notre Dame, bats the ball earthward. Incomplete forward pass, second down and 10 to go for Illinois, and they have the ball on their own 32-yard line. Score is 14-6 in favor of the Irish. Here comes Illinois out of the huddle, back into a modified. It's Worley fading back to chuck another forward pass. He throws it out on the flat, intended for Costello again, but it sails over Costello's head and goes for an incompleted forward pass. Steve Sitko and Milt People are out there as the quarterback and fullback of Notre Dame, and it goes for an incompleted pass and brings up the third down and still leaves 10 yards to gain. In the third quarter, Tulane 13, Rice 10. In the third quarter, Alabama nothing, Tennessee 13. The third quarter, Nebraska nothing, Indiana nothing. Illinois back huddling now. They haven't come out of that huddle. When they do, we'll tell you. Jimmy McDonald's over the ball. Bob Worley's in the tailback of a punt formation. And Worley fakes to pass that ball, but decides to run with it. Instead, he's up to the 30, the 35, and is hit down on the 37 by Sitko and People. Bob Worley faking to throw a forward pass, a play they had set up in their first two previous plays, by Worley fading back just as he did on this play and passing each time. He started back that same way that time, as though he was going to pass, and then pulled his arm back to his body, hugged that ball into his stomach, and ran. He ran up to the 37-yard line and picked up 5 big yards. But it's 4th and 5. 4th and 5 for the Fighting Illini, and they have the ball on their own 37-yard line, and they must go back into punt formation. Johnny Konowski, the fullback, is standing back on the Illinois 27-yard line. He takes the ball. He boots it. A high one. He's angling for the sideline. Steve Sitko takes it on Notre Dame's 27, signals for a free kick, or rather for a free catch, and takes his 2 steps forward, which he's allotted, which moves the ball to the 30-yard line, the 29-yard line. Jimmy Reeder and Wes Martin, the left tackle and right guard of Illinois, are in there very quickly, and so it's Notre Dame's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 29-yard line. That kick was very good. A hard kick, hard to handle, high, and it gave Illinois a chance to get her ends down under the punt. Notre Dame's ball, 1st and 10 on their own 29-yard line. Notre Dame back into a deep huddle now. They come out of that huddle. Ed Longy's over the ball, waiting for that pass from center. It's Max Burnell in the tailback spot. The ball goes back to Burnell. He's following 3-minute interference off his tackle. Gets up to the 35-yard line, up to the 36, before Phil Pizzoli and Tony Mazika. Right halfback and quarterback of Illinois can bring him down. A gain of 6 big yards on that play. Brings up 2nd and 4. Max Burnell, another Notre Dame team, is warming up. They'll be going into the game in just a moment. Notre Dame back into a huddle now. Has 11 players warming up on the sidelines. Elmer Layden's getting ready for a new aggregation to go in. Ed Longy's over the ball this time. It's a single wing over to the right with Pipel back now. It's Bobby Sago. Sago carrying the ball right into the center of the line. He drives forward with his knees up high. picks up just about 2.5 yards before Jim Reeder and Ralph Hathaway can stop the play, and they'll have to measure this to find out whether that is or is not a first down. It's very close to a first down, but whether it is or not, we can't quite see. They're bringing the line sticks in now, and it's not quite a first down. Not quite a first down. They miss it by inches. It's third down coming up and about 6 inches to go. Here comes Ed Longy up to the line of scrimmage. Burnell's back this time, a single wing over to the right. Now it's Bobby Sagal back. The ball goes back to People. Right into the center of the line goes People, and he picks up just about 1/2 of 1 yard before Tommy Riggs and Wes Martin, the right guard and tackle, can stop the play, but I believe that's all that's necessary for a first down. Elmer Layden has this new Notre Dame team down on their haunches right alongside of him. He's talking to them, give them instruction, and that is a first down for the Irish. 1st and 10 for Notre Dame on the 41-yard line, on their own 41-yard line, we should have said. Illinois with a 7-man line now. They've been playing that this whole second half. Here comes Ed Longy up over the ball. Notre Dame goes into that T formation of theirs, out of which comes either a single or a double wing back formation. It's a single wing to the left. Max Burnell is back. Ball goes back to Burnell following foreman interference, including 2 tackles. He moves past the 40 to the 42 before he's finally pulled down by Jim McDonald. McDonald brings him down on Notre Dame's 42-yard line, and there's a gain on that play of approximately 2 yards, bringing up the second down and leaving 8 yards to gain. We're getting a whole new Notre Dame team in just a moment. The boys are all resplendent in clean jerseys. Ed Longy comes back over that ball as Notre Dame comes out of the huddle now. They shift to the right this time. It's Milt People in the tailback spot, waiting for that pass from center. However, here comes a secondary shift, which puts Bobby Sagal back. Ball goes back to Sago. He's following 3-man interference, trying to run around his own right end. He's back to the line of scrimmage, moves up to the 45, and is finally knocked out of bounds. A gain of about 2 yards before he's finally batted out of bounds by Tony Mazika. Here comes a whole new Notre Dame team into the game, and we'll give them to you now. Right end, John Kelly going out. Ed Brosco coming in. Right tackle, Paul Kell going out. Joe Bechtold coming in. Augie Basso going out at right guard. Bobby Sullivan coming in. Ed Longy going out at center. Jack Finneran coming in. Jim McGoldrick, the captain, going out at left guard. Pete Kelly going in. Ed Boehner at left tackle going out. Fran Hollendonner going in at left tackle. Earl Brown, who scored Notre Dame's first touchdown, in at left end, or going out at left end. George Rosasas in at left end. At left, or rather at quarterback, Emmett Crow goes into the game. Steve Sitko goes out. At right halfback, Max Burnell goes out. Mike Corrigan is in. At left halfback, Bobby Sago goes out. McGannon comes in. And at fullback, Bing Binkowski is in, and Milt People is out. There's a new Notre Dame team. Notre Dame shifts over to the right this time. It's Binkowski back. Now it's McGannon. McGannon gives the ball to Binkowski. Binkowski gets over past the 45, past the 50-yard line, and just goes into Illinois territory before Pizzolo and McDonald bring him down to earth after he had picked up almost enough for another first Notre Dame down. Referee is calling that ball back. Something was wrong with the play, and we may have a penalty. Third quarter, Northwestern nothing, Ohio State nothing. Less than 3 minutes of playing time remaining. A penalty on the Fighting Irish. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 yards. Takes them all the way back to their own 33. Holding. Comes another substitution coming into the game for Notre Dame. We must have a man going out who has just played one play because we have an entirely new team coming in. Harry Stevenson coming in at left halfback. McGannon is going out of the game. All right. Notre Dame's ball now. It's 4th down and 17 yards to go. 4th and 17, where a moment ago they had just inches to go for a first down. They go back into a punt formation. Harry Stevenson was undoubtedly put in this game to boot it. Tony Mazika's back at safety for Illinois. Stevenson is Notre Dame's best kicker. He's going to boot. He does. He gets it away. A spiral kick going back to Illinois' 20, where Mazika takes it on the Illinois 20. And he's hit on the 20. George Rosasas comes in and pins him down on the 20. Georgie Rosas comes in on the 20 and pins down Tony Mazika. No gain on that whatsoever. Mazika tried to run with the ball, but he could not get loose. So it's 1st and 10 for the Fighting Illini with 2 minutes of playing time remaining. 2 minutes of playing time from South Bend. This game which NBC has been bringing to you. Here comes Illinois up under the line of scrimmage. Bob Worley's in the tailback spot. Worley fading back to chuck a forward pass. He throws it out on the flat, and it's intended for Tony Mazika, but it sails over Mazika's head. Is not good. Harry Stevenson bats it down. Incompleted forward pass. Now we're going to have this Illinois team desperately taking these last-minute heaves, which is holding this immense crowd in Notre Dame's beautiful stadium here, spellbound, holding them right in their seats until the last minute, because these last few minutes are bound to be exciting. You've got a team that's behind, that's got the ball, and they've got to throw it around and take desperate chances. Illinois' ball, 2nd and 10. The ball's resting on the Illinois 19-yard line. Illinois trailing Notre Dame 6-14. Bob Worley's back. He's going to tuck another pass. He does. He throws it out on the flat, completed to Pozzoli. Pozzoli moves up past the 25 to the 26 before he's finally pulled down by Jack Finneran and Bing Binkowski, full back and center of Notre Dame. Referee puts the ball down on the 27, and it's 3rd down and 3. 3rd and 3 for Illinois. 3rd and 3 for the Fighting Illini, and they come out of the huddle now, move back to the line of scrimmage, and again it's Bob Worley, the left halfback, who tosses that ball so beautifully for Illinois back. He fakes to throw it, but doesn't do it. Comes up past the 25, the 30, and goes all the way up to the 36 before Jack Finneran, the center of Notre Dame, can stop him. The ball all the way up to the Illinois 36-yard line. That will be a 1st down for Illinois, unless they call that play back. The referee blew his whistle, but we'll have to see. No, time is called out. No penalty on the play. No penalty, and time is called out, and called out by Illinois. The Illinois attack beginning to click. It's now 1st and 10 on the Fighting Illini's 37-yard line. Score is Notre Dame 14, Illinois 6. Illinois has the ball with approximately 1 minute and a quarter of playing time remaining, and just about a minute and a quarter remaining in the game still to be played at South Bend, which NBC has been bringing you right from the stadium. Beautiful new Notre Dame stadium. It's 14-6 in favor of the Irish. One thing we've noticed today, which has stood out predominantly, and that's been the increase in body blocks which are being thrown by and at both of these teams. Both Notre Dame and Illinois have used this body check all afternoon and used it to excellent advantage. In fact, each team, I think I can honestly say, has once this afternoon shaken a man loose for what was a touchdown in one case and what might have been in another case, just through the excellence of their body blocking. It's been a very beautiful sight to see. In fact, it's been the best blocking we've seen this year. Come some more substitutions in for the Fighting Irish. Pete Kelly is going out at left guard, and Bobby Sullivan is going out at right guard. Dick Ames comes in. He's the new right guard, and Bobby Elbert comes in at left guard. 2 substitutions in the Notre Dame lineup. It's been a very evenly fought game all afternoon. With only 1 minute of playing time remaining, it can still be an awfully exciting football game. Just remember what happened in the last minute at Ohio State, Notre Dame. That game was won that afternoon in the last minute. All right, Illinois comes up to the line of scrimmage now. They shift to the left this time. Bob Worley back once more. He's going to throw a forward pass, cocks his arm, chucks it out on the flat. It's intercepted by Bing Binkowski. He's back to the 35, down to the 30, and finally knocked out of bounds on the 26-yard line of Illinois by Ralph Hathaway. Binkowski, the fullback of Notre Dame, intercepts a pass thrown by Bob Worley, intended for Ken Zimmerman. And it's now 1st and 10 for Notre Dame on Illinois' 24-yard line. There you have one of the breaks which comes with taking those last desperate chances. Notre Dame's ball, they come out of the huddle, shift over to the right. It's Harry Stevenson on the tailback this time. Stevenson takes the ball, follows 3-man interference, finds a hole, moves down to the 20 before he's finally pulled down by Phil Pozzoli. Pozzoli pulls Stevenson down, but the play is being called back. The play is being called back. Something was wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Another penalty holding on Notre Dame puts them back to the 39-yard line, and that's the 39-yard line of Illinois. It's Notre Dame's ball now. The down remains the same. It's 1st down, but 25 yards to go. 3rd quarter, Chicago 7, Iowa 21. There's a new substitution in the right hand. Berta has gone in, a South Bend boy, and Ed Brasco has gone out for the Irish. Harry Stevenson's back on a single wing over to the right. The ball goes to Binkowski. Binkowski finds a fairly good hole over the short side tackle, and picks up about 3 big yards before Phil Pizzali, the quarterback of Illinois, who's backing up that line, stops the play. It moves the ball down to the Illini 35-yard line, and there's just about 35 seconds of playing time remaining. Notre Dame's ball now. The ball is resting on the 35-yard line. Illinois 35. It's Notre Dame's ball. Second down coming up, 21 yards to go. Emmett Crow is back this time. Now it's Harry Stevenson on the second shift. They shift once more, putting Mike Corrigan back. Corrigan takes the ball, fakes, gives it to Binkowski, cuts off the left side tackle and moves down past the 30-yard line to the Illinois 29. Before Ken Zimmerman, the left end, pulls the play down. The referee, however, rules that Jimmy Reeder had stopped the play on Illinois' 33. And here comes the end of the game. There it is. The game is over. Notre Dame wins 14-6. That band, but here's some scores perhaps you're a bit more interested in. Final on Princeton, Pennsylvania. Princeton 13, Pennsylvania nothing. Final on Yale, Navy. Yale 9, Navy 7. Final on NYU, North Carolina. North Carolina 7, NYU nothing. Final on Columbia, Colgate. Colgate 12, Columbia nothing. Final on Harvard, Army. Army 20, Harvard 17. Final on Carnegie Tech, Holy Cross. Carnegie Tech 7, Holy Cross nothing. Fordham 6, Purdue 6 was the end of the game. Dartmouth 34, Brown 13, that's the final score. End of the third period. Duke 6, Georgia Tech nothing. End of the third period. Villanova 29, Center 6. Third period. Cornell 10, Syracuse nothing. Third period. Nebraska, Indiana, scoreless tie. Tulane in the third period has 13 points and Rice has 10. Minnesota, Michigan, third period, a scoreless tie. Third period, Northwestern nothing, Ohio State nothing. Third period, Chicago 7, Iowa 21. Third period, Alabama nothing, Tennessee 13. Third period, Wisconsin nothing, Pittsburgh 13. Third period, Georgia 21, Mercer 7. At the halftime, Texas A&M nothing, Texas Christian 13. And at the halftime, Mississippi nothing, Vanderbilt nothing. And thus we reach the end of one of the season's great football games. Today, out of your loudspeakers, has poured the dramatic thrills and incidents as the Fighting Irish met the Fighting Illini. South Bend is so deeply steeped in football traditions that from the moment one enters this thriving city, it's football, football, football. Now, after seeing Layden's 1938 Notre Dame model, we know that while he misses many of the fine backs of last year, such as Andy Puplis and Bunny McCormick, he has no end of good material this year. While Bob Zupke, coach of the Fighting Illini, has not as much manpower to draw from, he too has some football players which are worthy of the name. One thing which stood out in our memories this afternoon, which we must reiterate in closing, has been the fine sportsmanship of both teams, and particularly the line work of both of these teams. What's particularly predominant in this play has been the fact that there's been no piling up at any time, there's been no questionable tackling, and there was a minimum of roughness. And truly, this Illini team is a credit to the institution which bears its name. And as for Notre Dame, they've always been good sportsmen, and merely produced one more team in the long succession upholding the fine traditions begun during the era of Knute Rockne. Now, as we gaze around the stadiums and see the crowds piling for the exits, and the happy students down on the field, and they are happy, and the bands marching off in both directions, flags which have been flying so beautifully in the breeze are being pulled down, debris litters the gridiron, we know that the curtain is slowly but surely dropping on another great football drama. There's very little use in going back on exciting incidents of this game. We had lots of them. A 67-yard run, a 64-yard run, a pass for a touchdown. Yes, the excitement was plentiful, and we hope you heard them as they occurred. Any attempt to recreate them now would be somewhat anticlimactic. But for the benefit of any latecomers who've just tuned in and might like to know what the score is, we give you one last recapitulation. From South Bend, Indiana today, the National Broadcasting Company has brought you the game between the universities of Notre Dame and the University of Illinois. The final score was Notre Dame 14, Illinois 6. This is Bill Stern speaking, and this has come to you through the National Broadcasting Company.